A Fall of Moondust by Arthur C. Clarke, adapted for radio by Andrew Lynch, with David Buck as Captain Pat Harris, Barry Foster as Engineer Jim Lawrence, Roland Karam as Tourist Commissioner Davis, Bill Simpson as Commodore Hanstein, Richard Pearson as Dr. Lawson, James Aubrey as Morris Spencer, Libby Morris as Myrie Schuster, Harry Taub as Irving Schuster, and Jane Knowles as Stewardess Sue Wilkins. A Fall of Moondust.
Okay.
Welcome aboard, sir. Madam.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hope the ship's big enough to take me, Irving. Seems awful small.
Stop worrying, Myra.
I just don't want to get stuck in a seat.
Everywhere we go, you say that. It's not happened yet.
There's always a first time.
Look, we didn't come all the way to the moon for you to get stuck in a seat. Just enjoy the cruise.
How long is the trip expected to last, young lady?
4 hours, madam.
Do we sit anywhere?
Yes, Selene has been designed to give a panoramic view for all its passengers.
Well, I'll stay here at the front, if you don't mind.
I'm sure you'll be very comfortable. Welcome aboard, sir.
Hello.
Welcome aboard.
My name is Jayawardena. Do I sit anywhere?
Just sit anywhere, sir. All seats have a perfect view.
Thank you.
Everything shipshape, sir?
Yes, Captain Harris. Full complement, as usual.
Good. Catering facilities checked?
Of course.
I'd like the seafood morning, if that's possible.
I'll see what I can do, Pat.
Good. I'll complete my pre-cruise checks.
Welcome aboard.
Oh, I hope I haven't kept you waiting, young lady.
No, sir. You are the last, but not late.
Ah.
You'll find a seat down on the right there.
Thank you. That'll be fine.
Excuse me, the young man in uniform who went through to the front,
Captain Harris has just gone to the bridge.
are you the only 2 crew members?
That's right.
Oh, dear.
Don't worry. The Selene's a very simple ship to operate.
Don't think I'm making a fuss, miss, but that door seems a bit flimsy. I mean, compared with an aircraft door back on Earth.
The moon creates her own conditions. Just relax and enjoy the trip. Selene's been through the most rigorous safety checks.
You okay, Myra?
Fine, Irving. These seats are very comfortable.
Yeah, it's a neat little ship.
I think that's one of the things I like best about the moon. Everything is so clean.
We're a long way from 39th.
New York's still home. I hope the apartment's okay.
David will look after everything.
Welcome aboard, Selene. Ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sue, and Captain Harris and I are pleased you could join us on the only sightseeing trip across a lunar sea. We shall be away from Port Roris about 4 hours, and our first objective will be Crater Lake, where we will have a breathtaking view of the mountains of inaccessibility. To reach our destination, we shall travel across the Sea of Thirst, ironically named because it is formed from the driest dust imaginable. A vacuum-packed souvenir awaits you at Port Roris on our return. The surface temperature of the sea at this moment is around 300 below zero.
God, you wanted to get away from the heat, Myra.
Irving.
We are rather proud of Selene. She's a unique craft even for the 21st century. Compact, extremely simple to operate, and her terminology will be familiar to most of you as it's taken from Earth maritime phraseology. We refer to her fore and aft, port, starboard, bridge, and portholes. She is propelled by electric motors that drive fans below the dust surface, but unlike conventional seacraft, there is no discomfort to be experienced by erratic motion. There are no waves, and seasickness is something we'll never experience. If during the trip you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. A 3-course meal incorporated in the price of your cruise ticket will be served in about an hour and a half from now. Enjoy your trip, everyone, and I'll now hand you over to Captain Harris.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Captain Pat Harris speaking to you from the bridge. If you would care to swivel your seats to the rear, you will observe the domes of Port Roris dropping swiftly from the skyline.
Oh, isn't that a
You have all, no doubt, observed the stars from the clarity of space and been dazzled by the face of the mother planet, but this is a new experience for you. We are now traveling on neither land nor sea or space, but a little of each. No sea on Earth could ever be as calm as this. We'll stop for a moment and let you experience how still and placid the lunar surface can be.
Isn't it so quiet and peaceful?
Ghostly, still grayness. This is the real face of the moon. That view hasn't changed for billions of years. It's an enormous thought, isn't it? Now, just how far do you imagine the horizon is? Believe it or not, only 3 kilometers. It looks a couple of light years away, but if you could walk on this stuff, you'd be there in 20 minutes. We'll move on, and I'll leave Sue to explain how the sea was formed.
Most of the moon is covered by a thin layer of dust, usually no more than a few millimeters in depth. Some of the debris fell from the stars when meteorites rained on the unprotected surface over at least 5 billion years. Some has flaked from lunar rocks as they expanded and contracted in the fierce climatic conditions. It's more liquid than sand or anything similar. It flows quicker than syrup and just slower than water. Over the ages, it has flowed down from the mountains into the lowlands to form pools and lakes. The first explorers expected this, but the Sea of Thirst was a surprise because of its size. And ahead we now see the Mountains of Inaccessibility, so called because they are entirely surrounded by sea.
Have they ever been climbed?
No, they haven't. Aren't they a wonderful sight? I'll go through to the bridge and put the main lights out to give you a better view and leave you to take in the haunting beauty.
Look.
I've never seen anything like this.
Interesting.
What are the passengers like?
They seem an ordinary bunch. There's one man I seem to recognize from somewhere, but I can't place him.
I'll point him out when I do my walkabout. Are you busy later? After the trip, I mean.
Well, I said I'd go and see the latest Earth video with a friend. Why do you ask?
I'm thinking of trying the new restaurant that's opened in Clavier City. I thought you might like to join me.
I went 3 or 4 days ago. It's very good.
Oh. Some other time then.
That'd be nice. I don't think you'll need to eat out tonight. There's plenty of seafood Mornay aboard.
Good.
Oh, there's a Miss Morley sat front port who asked who you were.
Yeah, I think I noticed her. Why do they always look like that?
Now then, Captain, diplomacy and charm. Remember your code of conduct. I'd better get back to them.
Out of this world.
Strange, isn't it? That man has to travel so far from the fields, lakes and forests to appreciate the real beauty of his own world.
Are you a poet?
No, ma'am. I just never dreamed it could look so beautiful. Bluey green crescent hanging in space.
Do you think David's looking up at the moon, Irving?
I hope he's looking after the office.
Forget the office. That's what we came here for. Rest, the doctor said.
You tell me. And who's worrying about the apartment?
Not now. I'm looking at a wonderful world.
Are you New Yorkers?
How'd you guess?
Oh, I worked in the Bronx for a while.
You're not American.
No. Australian, one of the originals. Long way from the Big Apple.
Nobody calls it that anymore.
We can almost see both our homes from here. I'm Irving Schuster. This is my wife, Myra.
Oh, I'm pleased to meet you. I'm Duncan Mackenzie.
It's our first trip to the moon.
Really?
Our first trip anywhere for years.
Wow.
The doctor, a personal friend,
says,
Irving, you have a fine son to take care of your business. Take a vacation. Next year, maybe, he says.
So, here we are.
Always next year.
So now it's next year. And you? First trip?
Oh, yeah. I've been promising myself this for a long time.
You're alone? You don't have a wife with you?
Myra.
Excuse me, sir. Please don't think me impertinent, but have we met before?
Oh, I'm sure I couldn't have forgotten such a charming lady.
I'm sorry, I rarely forget a face. occupational hazard. You must remind me of someone else.
I just seem to have that sort of feeling.
I'll get the cans in my bag.
Are you sure you shouldn't be at the front, Captain?
We're quite safe on automatic pilot for another 7 minutes, Miss Morley. We're traveling a well-trodden route in a straight line.
But what's that?
Sorry?
Up ahead. Captain, we're heading straight into it.
Irving! Irving, there's a hole in the sea!
It'll be planned, Myra. We'll be programmed to go around it.
Pat, what is it?
Oh, God, I don't know. I'm going a little break. My God!
Pat, we're sinking. What's happening?
Hang on, Sue. I'm trying to lift her. We're going down.
Look at the portholes. The dust is halfway up the glass.
Chief Engineer Lawrence, Mr. Davies.
Oh, Jim! Good of you to come. Take a seat.
I don't have long. What can I do for you, Rex?
You've time for some tourist office refreshment, I'm sure. Anne, would you please?
Yes.
Are you buttering me up for something, Rex?
Just being courteous to a fellow member of the Moon Management team.
Always the PR man. Come on, let's have it.
I had a stroll through the park earlier and happened to bump into the chief administrator. He's rather taken with the park, Jim, particularly impressed by the 15-metre sunflowers.
And the back-projected clouds, no doubt. It must be nice to have the time to admire them.
Oh, those clouds are lovely. You should dream a little.
I can look at clouds on Earth and listen to birds.
Well, perhaps you'd like something else. A thunderstorm, maybe?
No, thanks. So what did the chief have to say?
We discussed an idea for tourism.
Oh, you know my views on tourism. Just an additional headache we can live without.
Oh, no, we can't. It's our lifeblood here on the moon, Jim. The only way we can be independent of Earth. This idea would benefit both our departments.
Go on, Rex. I'm listening.
The water skiing champion of Australia has contacted me to ask if anyone has ever skied on the Sea of Thirst.
I thought you wanted me here for something serious.
I am serious. It could be a whole new sport. Is it technically possible? That's all I want to know.
It's probably just a matter of being able to maintain speed and maneuverability. I just don't know. We'd have to do some experiments.
Could Cellini do it?
It's possible. All I can see from my department's point of view is headaches. I'm running on a shoestring as it is.
Exactly, Jim. The tourists bring the money in. Any extra revenue generated by a fresh influx would be used to benefit both our departments.
When I've got time, I'll see what I can do, all right?
That's all I'm asking.
Excuse me, sir. Red priority column 7.
Put it through, Anne. Chief Engineer Lawrence has the same clearance as me.
It's for Chief Engineer Lawrence.
Oh, fine. Put it through, Anne. Call 317, Jim.
Thank you. Lawrence, yes? How long ago? No answer whatsoever? Try the moon crash band, Ed. You did. Right. See you in control in a couple of minutes.
Trouble?
That was Ed, my number 1. It's probably a false alarm, but I'd better get down to control. Cellini hasn't made her routine call.
Oh, what do you think could have happened?
I'm going to find out.
I'll come with you.
If anything has happened to her out there, we can only reach her with the dust skis. I've said all along we should have had 2 dust cruisers operational before we started these trips.
Couldn't agree more. That's the sort of equipment we could buy with any additional revenue.
Ed,
what's the problem?
The 1900-hour signal came in bang on time. That was here. Nothing at 2000. That's when they called me. I've had the instrument guys check it out our end, and it's all right. We tried to contact her on her regular frequency and do a blank. We've scanned the adjoining bands, and again, nothing. That's when I called you.
And nothing on the moon crash band?
Not yet.
If she travelled from the 1900 signal until now, how far away from the last point of contact could she be?
Flat out. She'd only have travelled 80 kilometres, but she won't be travelling that fast on a sightseeing trip.
Right, if we draw a circle with her position at 1900 hours as its centre and an 80-kilometre radius, she's got to be in there somewhere. Then if we concentrate on this arc in the direction she's travelling, that'll cut down the odds for finding her.
Let's not provoke publicity over this. After all, it's probably just a simple breakdown.
Yes, but we'll dispatch the dust skis anyway. Even if it is a false alarm, it's good training.
How long before we know?
Well, it'll take a while to search several thousand square kilometres at night. Ed, get them started in this area. I'll prepare for us to travel to Port Roris in a suborbital, just in case we're needed.
Okay, Chief.
I don't know. If it isn't a communications breakdown, there can only be a few possibilities. It was sudden. An explosion, maybe.
I'd better set up a meeting with the legal department. Do you think we should tell the chief administrator?
I'll leave that to you. Maybe he's wandering around your park somewhere.
Thanks, Jim. This won't do the tourist industry any good.
You should be worrying about the tourists that went out on Salini.
Oh, yes, you're right. I'll contact Port Roris and make sure they all sign their indemnity forms. If it came to the worst, we could be sued for billions.
That isn't what I meant. Let's hope they've just hit something and put their communications out of action.
Excuse me, Chief. I've had an idea.
I'm listening, Ed.
Well, why don't we try Lagrange satellite? The astronomers up there might be able to see something.
At night? From 50,000 kilometers?
It's worth a try. Salini's searchlights could still be burning, and they'd easily spot that on the sea. Contact them, Ed. I'll get our transport arranged to Port Roris.
Dr. Lawson?
Yes, what is it?
I'm very sorry to disturb you, Doctor, but we've received a priority red signal from Lunar Traffic Control, Earthside North.
Traffic control? I'm an astronomer, not a parking attendant. What do they want?
A dust cruiser, the Selene, has gone missing on a sightseeing trip across the Sea of Thirst. 22 people on board. Traffic Control thought there may be a chance we'd spot her lights through the telescope.
I don't know. I'm supposed to be carrying out serious scientific research. Not looking for a busload of lost pleasure seekers.
Yes, Doctor.
100-centimetre telescope. Beautiful instrument. Designed to look at objects billions of times further away from us than the moon. Here we are, like a ping-pong ball, perpetually balanced between Earth and the moon. Where do you say that thing was supposed to be?
The Sea of Thirst, Doctor. I've brought a map.
Map? Map? Don't need a map. Let's look at that view on the screen. That's the Sea of Rains. Those craters are Archimedes, Plato, Aristotles, and Eudoxus. Marvellous, even on low power.
Yes. Shouldn't we be scanning the dark section, Dr. Lawson?
Of course we should. That's where we're going. It's a big place, the Sea of Thirst. You have any coordinates?
Yes, Doctor.
Well, punch 'em in. You're expecting now to work this thing.
Yes, Doctor. There. It's very dark.
Well, of course it's dark. It's night time. Scan slowly.
What was that?
What? Where?
A bright light. It could have been a searchlight.
Well, trace it back. Very slowly.
There.
Much too bright. Those are the lights at Port Roris. Now, if she's on the Sea of Thirst, we should locate her with a light amplifier or a radiation detector.
It's so dark. I can't see.
Quiet, everyone, please. I think we've stopped moving now. Is anyone injured? No. Just make sure that everyone within touching distance of you is conscious. I'm going to reset the main lights and the purification system.
Irving, you all right?
I'm okay. Are you?
Yeah. Mr. Mackenzie?
Oh, fine. Look at the portholes.
Oh, we're buried. Oh, God, we're buried.
And Miss Morley, are you all right?
We are buried, aren't we?
Yes, we are under the surface, but we can't be very deep.
At least we now have light. How is everybody, Sue?
At the worst shaken, I think.
Well, if the food's still servable, this might not be a bad time to serve it.
I'll see what I can do.
Good. Could I have your attention, please?
Sure.
We are still in one piece, and no one is worse than a little shocked, as far as I can see. If anyone does need first aid, Sue is a trained nurse, so speak up. I think we've been unfortunate to have been caught in some sort of landslip or moonquake. There's no need to be alarmed. Even if we can't get out under our own power, Port Roris will soon have someone here. Meanwhile, Sue is about to serve refreshments, so I suggest you all relax, and I'll contact base. Selene to Port Roris. Selene to Port Roris. Come in, please.
underway. Are you through?
Not yet.
What's happened? Any ideas?
I'm not sure. Some sort of landslip. Cellini to Port Roris. Come in, please.
Perhaps the radio's damaged.
Possibly. I'm getting an outside pressure reading, which indicates we're deeper than I first thought.
Well, how deep?
Well, at a rough estimate, I'd say about 10 meters.
As much as that. Is everything else all right?
All equipment appears to be functional.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. No passengers allowed in here.
No, that's all right, Sue.
I don't want to intrude, Captain. Selina is your ship. I thought I'd introduce myself in case I can be of some assistance.
Glad to have you aboard, Commodore.
Commodore?
Commodore Hanstein.
The man who led the first expedition to Pluto.
I thought I recognized you, but your name didn't ring a bell from the passenger list.
I've shaved off my beard, and my alias is Hansen. Since my retirement, I've tried to do some quiet sightseeing.
Sorry about this, Commodore.
No, it's not your fault. How desperate is the situation?
I'll carry on with the meeting.
Yeah, fine, Sue. We're deeper than I first thought. My guess is about 10 meters.
Doesn't sound too good.
We aren't too far from Port Roris. They should find us fairly quickly.
My experience tells me to look on the black side. How long could we last if we had to?
Oh, oxygen would be the limiting factor. We've enough for about 7 days, Earth days, that. There are no leaks, and she seems sound enough.
What about food, water, and power?
No problem. We carry the compulsory emergency supply rations. We can purify all the water we need, and there's ample power now that the main motors are shut down.
Any luck with the radio?
I think the dust's blanketed everything out. I've left the beacon on Moon Crash. If anything can get through, it'll be that.
If they had to find us any other way, any estimate how long it would take?
Well, the search would have begun as soon as our 2000 signal was missed. They'll know our general area, but we'll have sunk without trace.
In the meantime, you've got to keep the customers happy. Why not give them a pep talk about the search procedure?
Yeah, I'll do that, Commodore. Thank you.
Best not to give the impression somebody will be knocking on the door in half an hour, though. It would make it difficult if we had to wait a day or two.
Can't see a thing. Can you?
I felt sure we'd find something after the photographs had gone through computer enhancement, but it's just as if the sea hasn't been touched for hundreds of years.
Billions of years. In the Earthlight, it'll be possible to see her shadow clearly. If not, then we can assume she came to grief in this area. Put these through the enhancer, Ingrid.
Right. Crater Lake? In the middle of the mountains?
Well, it's far more logical to assume she'd have an accident where always boulders are strewn about the place than in the open sea where she'd be unobstructed.
It's still very black, Doctor.
No light at all. Scores of isolated crags and boulders. You see, all this area is blocked from us by the mountains. The only chance there is to investigate at ground level. Inform Earthside Control and give them our interim report.
Are we giving up, Dr. Lawson?
Good Lord, no. Just getting interesting.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes, Anne?
The copy of the report from the Lagrange satellites through on Telefax.
Oh, any news?
No, they haven't seen anything at all.
This has happened at a very bad time. Is that the passenger list?
Yes, sir. There's an appendix.
Hell, that's all I need. Commodore Hanstein's on board, travelling under an assumed name.
The Commodore Hanstein?
Imagine what that's going to do to our public image. Lawrence should have arrived at Port Roris by now. Make sure he's got all this information.
Yes, sir.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the position. We're only about 60 kilometers from base, 3 from the mountains of inaccessibility, and we are in no immediate danger.
But how long, Captain?
As I said earlier, I've no reason to believe we won't be located quite soon.
Shouldn't someone be on the bridge by the radio?
Now, I've boosted reception. We'll hear any incoming signal throughout the ship, and they can hear us from in here.
What do we do in the meantime?
Well, we are very fortunate to have Commodore Hanstein aboard. As you probably know, he's the most travelled Earthman in history.
And I don't intend staying still for long here.
Perhaps, Commodore, you can suggest ways we can pass the time.
All right, Captain. Do we have any books on board?
Do we?
There's one. Would you mind passing it up, please? And another. Oh, fine. We seem to have an overkill of the official tourist handler. Now, what's this one about?
Oh, I'm afraid it's only a little drawn through history.
The Orange and the Apple.
It's absolute rubbish.
We're not looking for heavy literature. The Orange and the Apple. The truth of the romance between Nell Gwynn and Sir Isaac Newton. It sounds juicy.
It was written by a promiscuous schoolgirl on Mars.
Thank you, Miss Morley. Ah, I know this one. Shane. Good old-fashioned Western. Well, that's a start. Later on, we could have some volunteer readers, Captain.
Good idea. Well, that's our entertainment taken care of. Are there any more questions?
I noticed there was a spacesuit in the airlock. Well, couldn't someone swim up to the surface? Then the search party would know where we were immediately.
Sorry, Miss Morley, but it would be like swimming in sand. You'd be absolutely blind. How would the person know which was up or down? How could he close the outer door after him? The dust would just flood in.
If there are no more questions, why don't we all introduce ourselves? I'll go round the ship, and perhaps you'll give your name, occupation, and hometown. You have a remarkable collection of talent on board, if I may say so, Captain. Any sign of our rescuers?
No, Commodore, not as yet.
Do you mind if I have a word, Captain?
No, Mr.
Mackenzie.
Yes, our Australian physicist, correct?
Correct, Commodore. I'm a little worried.
Go ahead.
What's it all about?
If my reasoning is correct, a 7 days limitation on our oxygen supply won't be our greatest danger.
Then what is?
Heat. We are blanketed by dust. It's about the best insulator there is. The heat from our bodies and the machinery can't escape. That means it'll get hotter and hotter until we cook.
I never gave that a thought. How long do you think it'll take?
Well, not much more than a day. It'll take me about half an hour to come up with a more accurate estimate. The cabin temperature readout will give us a fair indication.
Yeah, he's right. It's gone up 2 degrees already.
Yeah, a degree an hour. I was afraid it might be as bad as that.
We'll have to increase the cooling, Pat.
Won't that make matters worse?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. All our refrigeration system does is pump heat out of the cabin. Now there isn't anywhere for it to go.
Well, check your figures, Mackenzie, and let us know how long we've got as soon as possible.
Right.
And we'd better keep this between the three of us for the time being.
Hello, Chief. Hi, Ed. Welcome to Port Roris.
Anything new on Selene, George?
Oh, nothing good, Chief. We have a report from Lagrange Satellite and another from Plato Observatory, and get this. Commodore Hanstein's on board.
Aboard Selene?
Yep.
Is Tourist Commissioner Davis now?
Oh, he's taking it very personally, Chief.
I'll bet. Anything from the Duskies?
Afraid not. I'll have to pull them in soon to change crews.
Okay, but make it snappy. What does Lagrange say?
Even with computer enhancement, they can't see anything out there. I suppose all her lights could be out.
No lights, no radio. That would mean a breakdown of at least 10 circuits. What does Plato Observatory have to say?
Oh, it gets worse, Chief. At 1936 hours, they recorded a massive land slippage in the area of the Mountains of Inaccessibility. A violent moonquake.
Hell. So that's what's happened. A lot of activity?
Like nothing they ever recorded before.
Are there likely to be further tremors?
Well, they say very unlikely. Once the stress has been relieved, it isn't likely to happen again for a couple of thousand years.
The time's about right for Selene to have been slap bang in the middle of it.
If they are buried under those rocks, they'll have had it by now. Selene's hull would have cracked like an eggshell. Okay. Get the Duskies back, George. I'm calling off the search in the Sea of Thirst. Get them fixed up with metal detectors and gas sniffers and head for the mountains when they've changed crews. It's time to pick up the pieces.
Right, Chief.
Ed, inform Dr. Lawson on Lagrange of the news. Thank him for his help and all that.
Yeah, will do.
That's it, then. I'd better speak to the administrator. And to Rex Davis, I suppose.
Doctor, there's a message from Chief Engineer Lawrence, thanking you for your efforts and saying the search has been called off. There's been a report of a moonquake causing an avalanche on the Mountains of Inaccessibility, and it seems that Selene is crushed under the rocks.
Blast. I was almost ready.
What's that, Doctor?
It's an old-fashioned infrared scanner linked up to the telescope. Quite enjoyed the challenge. All a waste of time, now. Those poor people.
Isn't it still worth a try, Doctor? She might have survived the avalanche. Would it work in the mountainous area?
No, of course not. There's been an avalanche and landslides. All the temperatures would be uneven. Complete waste of time.
Sorry, sir. I don't know anything about them.
Come here. Very basic. Though Selene left no visible trace across the sea, she will definitely have left an infrared one. You understand?
Not really.
Oh, she'd have stirred up relatively warm dust from a few feet down and scattered it across a far colder surface. An eye that could detect heat could pick up her track for hours after she passed. It would have just been time for us to make a survey before the sun rose and obliterated all trace of the heat trail.
Couldn't we still try it?
No reason to now.
I'm still not sure how it works.
Good gracious, Ingrid, look, it's fundamental. Now, all you have to do...
Captain, Commodore, can I have a word with you?
Yeah, of course, Mac. How bad is it?
It's bad. If conditions remain the same, we could have our first death from heat stroke within 20 hours.
As soon as that?
Doesn't give 'em much time to find us and get us out, does it?
No.
If we slept, that would lower the body temperatures.
It'd help. It would make sense to sleep now before conditions become unbearable.
And we could turn the main lights off.
Right. We must give ourselves every possible chance. May I speak with them? With your permission, Pat.
Yes, sure, Commodore.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, we've all had a busy day, and I think most of us would be glad to get some sleep.
In these conditions?
I agree, Mrs. Schuster. You've probably all noticed that it's becoming a little warm in here, and my advice is to remove all unnecessary clothing.
What do you mean by that?
Now, comfort is much more important than modesty. We'll turn the main lights off and leave the emergency ones on. Somebody will remain awake all the time in the bridge, waiting for our rescuers.
If anyone would like a drink or anything else, please don't hesitate to ask.
Come on, Myra, take off your dress. Be comfortable. Nobody's looking. Everybody's concerned with themselves.
That stewardess, Sue. If God had given me a figure like hers, I would undress. Myra Schuster stays covered up.
Okay, Myra.
I'd like to take the first watch, Captain. I can do some more calculations.
Yeah, I'll be over there if you need me, though I doubt if I'll sleep.
How did the meeting go, Chief?
They're preparing a press release and messages to the next of kin. The administrator's going to come in for a lot of flack.
And Tourist Commissioner Davies?
Smooth as ever. He's writing the press release. Wouldn't surprise me if he didn't try to make out it was a mass suicide to save his precious tourist industry. Oh, what's the situation with the dust skis, Ed?
Oh, they've left for the mountains with the detection gear, and we're set up for a quick turnaround of crews.
Fine. Well, let's hope we can give him a decent burial. I'm going for a drink.
Pat, I'm sorry to wake you, but I can hear something.
I wasn't asleep. What is it?
Look, just put your ear to the hull. Can you hear it?
It's the dust moving.
Thank God. They must have found
No,
us.
I'm not sure. How's the temperature?
It isn't going up as fast as I predicted.
Because the lights and sleeping?
It shouldn't have made that much difference. I don't understand.
The noise. I think I do.
Should we wake the others?
No. This dust is so fine it'll flow like water in the right conditions. I think the heat is slowly dissipating into it and causing a convection current.
I thought they'd found us.
It's a bit of good news anyway, if Selene isn't heating up as quickly as we thought. The dust skis will be out searching. They could even be near us right now.
Drowning your sorrows, Chief.
Oh. On this stuff? You know, we've beaten most of the killer diseases, and we can still lose 22 people out on a joyride.
I know how you feel, Chief. The first ski is back. They're turning it round at the moment.
Fine, Ed.
Oh, and Dr. Lawson from Lagrange Satellite wants to speak to you.
Didn't you tell him about the mountains?
Yeah, I told him earlier, but the message is he wants to speak to you.
Oh, well, I better call him. Ed, use the extension.
Yeah, right.
Hello? Hello?
Dr. Lawson?
Speaking.
Hello, Doctor. Chief Engineer Lawrence.
Good. Selene, dear fellow, the missing tourist bus. I believe I know where she is.
Yeah, in the mountains.
No, she never got that far. Anyway, it won't work there. The temperatures are too uneven. No, it was while I was explaining the infrared technique to Ingrid. It's very simple, but she wanted a practical demonstration, and that's when we spotted the trail.
Doctor, where have you found Selene?
Ingrid has just sent the photographs over telefax to you.
I'll go and get them.
Look, yeah, could you start at the beginning, please?
Certainly. You see, after I was unable to locate any sign of your missing craft by conventional use of the telescope, I rigged up an infrared scanning device. Then the word came from you that you were calling off the search because Cellini was probably buried under the mountains. I was a little annoyed about that, but as I was explaining the method of heat detection to my assistant Ingrid, we picked up Cellini's trail. It's quite elementary.
Here you are, Chief.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I have the photographs in front of me now, yes. I see what you mean. Yes, I can see the trail, but I can't see the cruiser.
That's a puzzle, isn't it? It seems as if she's just flown away.
Doctor, she can't fly.
I know that, of course. So if she can't go up, she must have gone down.
Hey, could be right, Chief.
What are you saying, Doctor?
Well, it's obvious to me she can't fly. There's no trace of her leaving that spot, so she must be under it.
What about an explosion? She could have just disintegrated.
Well, there'd be hot fragments all over the place. My infrared scanner would be going wild.
Hell, Doctor, I hope you're right. Excuse me, one moment. Ed, contact Davis and tell him to hold any press releases. Tell him there's a slight chance she's under the sea. I want both dust skis holding here at base. Then, contact Plato Observatory and see if there could be a connection between the landslide in the mountains and that point on the Sea of Thirst.
Sure, Chief.
Dr. Lawson, how accurate is your infrared scanner?
Totally. Depending on the range, of course.
To what accuracy could you pinpoint the last location of Cellini?
Well, not very well on this floating ping-pong ball. Well, say to roughly within half a kilometre.
I see. That's still a wide area for such a small craft, but it's a very good start. I'll get the search party back out there straight away.
There is another way.
I'm listening, Doctor.
You could do an infrared scan on the surface of the sea with a great deal of accuracy, provided we did it before the next sunrise and the heat of the sun's rays obliterated all signs.
Doctor, that's it. Brilliant.
Quite. I could be ready to leave in, say 7 minutes, if you'd like me to come down. Feel like stretching my legs.
I'll see what traffic's like in your area, have you picked up. See you soon.
Goodbye.
I've got both dust skis back here waiting, Chief. What's going on?
There may still be a chance. Cellini could be buried somewhere here, under the Sea of Thirst.
Whew. Well, if her systems are still functional, they could still be alive.
That's right. Ed, find a suitable craft in the region of LaGrange to bring Doc Lawson and his machine down.
Right, Chief.
Shall I get the skis to this location?
Send one out with a surveyor's rod. There's no harm in trying. Tell them that I'm coming out myself as soon as Dr. Lawson arrives.
I'd like to drive, if that's okay. Pat and Sue are friends of mine.
Oh, sure, George. Contact Farside and ask for a loan of one of their skis. Have another crew wait for it here at a moment's standby.
Right. Chief, there's a ship, the Auriga, 10 hours out from Earth, bound for Clavier City. There's time to divert it to LaGrange.
That's fine, Ed. I'll do it. I have a feeling there'll have to be a few strings pulled. Keep Davis in touch with what's happening, but keep it low-key. We've an awful long way to go yet.
Will you quieten that bluegrass down, Lester? I have a job to hear if there are any more messages.
Just keeping my roots, man. Where is it we're going to?
LaGrange Satellite, then diverting to Port Royce.
Oh, Skipper. I had a little lady lined up in Clavier City.
I had to cancel my own arrangements, too, Lester. This diversion has come from the owners via the government.
That important? Why are we going to LaGrange?
Picking a guy up. He's got to be at Port Royce as soon as possible. Better tell the passengers.
Bet it's something to do with that tourist bus gone missing.
We aren't supposed to listen to that security band.
It'll be a boring trip without it. That and my banjo.
Go tell the passengers.
Okay.
Auriga to LaGrange, ETA 5 minutes.
What's it all about then, Lester?
Mr. Spencer, all I know is diversion to LaGrange observation satellite, then on to Port Royce, a one-horse town. Don't know how long we'll be there. Had a hot one lined up in Clavier City. Even booked a restaurant.
Oh, you must have some idea. You can tell me, Lester.
Couldn't tell you, Mr. Spencer. I know you're a newsman. Even if I did know something, Skip would go mad.
I have a 12-month contract on the moon. I'll be making lots of important contacts. Anybody who does me a favor could be helping themselves for the future.
Well, Don't tell anybody I said.
I never reveal my sources.
I reckon it's something to do with the missing dust cruiser.
What missing dust cruiser?
Skipper and me were listening to a security band. Shouldn't have been, though. Tourist cruiser Cellini's missing. 22 on board. Messed up my stay in port.
Lester, will you get on back here? We're about to dock.
Now, don't say I said. We're picking a scientist up.
Hey, Lester, you make sure he takes this vacant seat, huh?
See what I can do, Mrs. Spencer. That seat okay for you, Dr. Lawson?
Yes, thank you. Very comfortable. Are you sure my luggage is safe?
Oh, it'll be quite all right. But what the hell is it anyway?
Scientific equipment. Very sensitive. Be careful.
Sure will.
Bit of a late change of plan, Mr.
Lawson. Dr. Lawson.
My name's Spencer. Are you visiting Port Royce or a patient?
No, I'm not a medical man. Astronomer, actually. Spot of bother in the Sea of Thirst. Fascinating.
Oh, I don't know that area too well.
Oh, I have some photographs. Now, see that line?
Yes.
Ah, you're a newsman.
Does it show that much?
Badge protruding from inside pocket. I'm a trained observer, you see. Excuse me. Oh, just catch a few minutes sleep. Knew it was going to be a busy day.
I refuse to listen to any more of the orange and the apple. It's nothing less than pornography. And with most people down to their underwear.
She's right, Myra. Most people are. It's roasting in here. You're gonna have to take your dress off. This is no time for modesty. It's time for goddamn comfort.
Irving.
Look, I'm sorry, Myra, but be sensible. Miss Morley, I can understand. You, I can't.
All right, maybe we've had a little bit too much reading. But we can't sleep all the time. Does anybody have any ideas for recreation?
Let us have an examination of the motives of people for traveling to the moon.
That's a good idea, Professor...
Jayawardena.
I came here because somebody told me I'd only weigh 20 kilos up here. That's why I came.
Oh, do you feel comfortable in a spacesuit, Doctor?
Never worn one in my life.
As long as you don't suffer from claustrophobia.
If you could see the size of my laboratory aboard Lagrange, you wouldn't ask that question. Well, it's nice to be somewhere with a bit of gravity. This oxygen flask looks a bit small.
Oh, that's just your emergency supply. The main supply is on the dust ski. Now, let's get our helmets on.
Right, Chief.
How's that? Seems fine. Now, the only control you need worry about is the intercom. That's the panel on your right. It's switched on now, so we can talk quite freely. Any questions?
What's this red button for?
Emergencies. You won't need it, I hope. It sets off a homing radio beacon if you get lost. Don't touch anything you aren't certain of, Doctor.
Don't worry, I won't.
Okay, George. Ready to roll.
Right, Chief. All my life I've studied other worlds from afar. This is my first taste at first hand, so to speak. How long will it take us to get to the spot?
How long, George?
About an hour. It's uncannily exhilarating. Silence. No feeling of motion, yet we're moving quite rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
Just how much time do we, or rather, do those unfortunate people down there have?
Oh, provided the quake hasn't caused any leaks or systems damage, they're okay for about, 6 days.
How far down are they likely to be?
Anybody's guess. Sea's never been plumbed out here, but the deepest dust bowl we've found so far was 41 meters. Does the depth matter to the scanner?
Does it? Obviously she's giving heat out, and the nearer the surface she is, the more detectable it'll be.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm down here, there should be enough heat to give a reading. Not like being stuck up in Lagrange. Once she's been located, just how do you intend getting them out?
Good question, Doctor.
How do you manage to get the only genuine bottle of hooch in Port Royce, Mr. Spencer?
The power of the press, Skipper. I had a bigger job getting these lunar survey maps.
All right. So, that's the Sea of Thirst. That there'll be the mountains of inaccessibility where Seleni's lost.
Where she may be lost.
Huh?
Just between you and me, I believe the old man we picked up from Lagrange satellite has evidence that she's down in that sea. I stuck close to Lawson. I know he was whizzed through customs and immigration, but the man who met him was Chief Engineer Lawrence, the man in charge of the rescue. He was overheard saying there was a dust ski ready to take them out to the spot.
Sure don't take you long to find your way around, huh?
I'm a pro. I believe that spot there is where Selene is buried. If there are people still alive down there, there's going to be one hell of a salvage operation not too far from here. Port Roris will be the biggest news center in the solar system.
Oh, where do I come in?
Right there, Captain.
Huh?
I want to charter your ship to land me and my video equipment on that promontory, on the western wall of the Mountains of Inaccessibility.
You realize how much that'd cost?
My station will pay. I've spoken to them, and about a bonus for you and Lester. This could be one of the biggest news stories of the century. What do you say? Can it be done?
Well, that's one good thing. There's enough food here for 6 days if we start rationing.
Rationing? It seems a long time since you asked me to go to that new restaurant.
Your friend must have been disappointed.
You never asked me who it was, did you?
I thought if you didn't want to eat with me, that's your business.
You shouldn't accept things at face value.
What you mean? If I'd asked about the friend you were seeing the video with, there might not have been one.
Possibly. I might not have wanted you to think it was so easy.
I've always thought you attractive, Sue. I mean...
I know. But let's wait until we're out of here, okay?
Everything all right, Doctor?
No. It doesn't look too good, I'm afraid. Could we stop a moment?
Sure. George?
I heard, Chief.
What's the problem, Doctor?
The heat image is too confused. There are dozens of hot spots. I was expecting to find just the one, where the dust has been disturbed.
I see. Why was it uniform on the photographs?
I was just confused at the moment. Selene shed a fan blade around here a week ago. It isn't very deep in part. Of course, I should have thought of that. When we reach the depth deep enough to swallow Selene, the temperature will be more uniform.
Good. Let's get a move on.
It's going to be a matter of minutes now, Chief.
Right.
How will you be able to differentiate between hidden rock and Selene? Presuming you hit something with your probe.
Doctor, I just don't know.
This could be it. Stop! Stop! Okay. Just look at the screen.
I'll get the other dust ski over here. Let's get the probes rigged, George, and start praying.
Now let's all settle down.
They're doing their best.
Settle down. The heat is getting to us. We've got to be patient.
What's the trouble, Commodore?
There's a feeling we're not doing all we can to get out. I've explained that we've no alternative but to wait for rescue.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at least 10 meters down. Even if we could get the airlock open, no one could overcome the dust's resistance and get to the surface.
But what about the main motors, Captain? We could try them.
I doubt us moving a centimeter, and we go forward, not up.
Well, we could all stand at the back.
That would probably just damage the hull.
But if there's one chance that it might work, isn't it worth the risk?
Yeah. We're boiling down here.
All right, that's enough from everybody. The danger in trying to escape unaided is too great. We're safe here for at least 6 more days.
6 days.
Might not be too comfortable. In fact, it'll get hotter, but we've got to stay calm and cooperative.
Shut up! Shut up, everybody!
Myra!
Be quiet! Listen! Listen!
Hey!
They found us! They found us!
I'll look back.
I'll go and try the radio.
I've hit something, but I can't tell what it is.
It's Selene, all right. Just look at the trace on the screen. She's giving off an awful lot of heat. The surface of the dust is moving.
let's all just stand still.
I don't think there's any cause for alarm. I think it's probably just a convection current.
Okay, George. Follow the image of the scanner with Dr. Lawson and stake her out.
Okay.
Must be her. I've hit her again. She's deep, about 15 meters.
Pity the old-fashioned echo sounders couldn't be used.
Yes, you may have something there, Doctor. Now, the next time I hit her, I'll leave the probe in. If it is Cellini, she's blanketed by dust. That's why the radio didn't work. Yeah, I've hit again. I'll try the moon crash band. Yeah, it doesn't mean they're alive, though, George. That signal's on automatic. Probably lasts about 3 weeks. I'll try our own frequency. Loud and clear. This is Chief Engineer Lawrence, right above you. What condition are you in?
As you can probably hear, you're a popular man at the moment, Chief. I'm Captain Pat Harris. We have no injuries. The hull is intact, and we have oxygen and food supplies for about 6 more days. Our only cause for immediate concern is temperature. It's very hot down here.
It was through heat detection we found you, Pat. And we should be making you a bit more comfortable before very long. We'll have you out as quickly as possible. I'll report back to base with the good news. I'll contact you soon and keep you all in touch with progress. Out.
That's the word, Chief. Out.
Lawrence to Port Rora's control. Come in, please.
Hello, Chief. It's Ed.
Good news, Ed. We've found them. Radio contact established and everyone's okay, but suffering from the heat. They have enough oxygen and supplies for 6 days. The problem is going to be getting to them through the dust. She's about 15 meters deep and 3 kilometers from the nearest solid land, and we don't know how deep the dust is below her. I'm going to leave George here, and the doctor and I will come back to base to organize rescue equipment. We can only use the skis out here. Now, how much equipment can any one ski carry?
In total, about 5 tons, but because of balance, the largest single item they can carry is about 2 tons.
So, we can't use any really heavy gear.
Right.
Okay. I'll do some thinking on the way back. Have that ski from Farside standing by.
Will do, Chief. Good work.
Yeah, up to now it's been easy. But let's not kid ourselves. The hard part has just begun.
Are we down, Skipper?
Yes, sirree. We've landed.
It was a bit hairy, I must admit.
Yeah, nothing in the master's handbook about a spaceship traveling 100 kilometers. Even the computer wouldn't be bothered with an efficient trajectory readout. I just let her rip upwards for 1,000 kilometers and brought her down on a normal vertical approach with final auto guidance. Kind of neat, eh, Mr. Spencer?
I didn't much care for free falling between the retros firing. I kept wondering what would have happened if they hadn't fired again.
Right into the moon.
Mighty cheerful, Lester. Here we are then, Mr. Spencer. Hope you're satisfied with the view. It's costing you enough. Oh, I hope you realize that the 1,000-kilometer jaunt just qualified us for deep space rates.
Have you no soul? There are 22 people buried out there.
Flying this rig is our living, amigo. I know how it is. All sweet talk and promises at the moment to get your story. Then when it's all old news and the accountants get involved in the cold light of day, that's another story.
Yeah, point taken. Like a scene from a dream, isn't it? The sea stretching out into space. I can see what must be a dust ski. And even the pole joining Cellini to the rest of humanity.
Where's that?
Here, you'll need the binoculars. I'll get the camera set up. This is fantastic. By the time anybody else gets anywhere near here, we'll have all the Earth networks tied up. What a picture. The plane, the probe stuck up into the freezing stillness. The loneliness of man personified in this huge and hostile universe he is set out to conquer.
Fancy some chow, Skipper.
Smart idea, Lester. We could be here for some time.
great sound. Listen. Fantastic.
Hello, Cellini. Rex Davies here. I just thought I'd leave you a moment with the sounds of Clavier City Park that await your return. On behalf of the Chief Administrator, I want to assure you that all the resources available on the moon are being mobilized for your aid. Engineering and technical staff are working around the clock to help you. Chief Engineer Lawrence tells me the provisional plan is to sink pipes down to you to ensure a limitless oxygen supply. Sorry for the inconvenience and strain you've had to undergo. That's all over now. Just relax. Sit and wait. And we'll have you out in no time. Good luck. Best wishes. And we'll be in touch again soon.
Lovely.
I wish the Commissioner wouldn't be quite so optimistic, Commodore.
I'm sure he was just thinking about her morale.
It's been fine since the link was established.
I'll be glad to get out of this. I'm getting too old for these sort of adventures.
You've coped admirably, Commodore. I'm glad you're with us.
Nice of you to say so, Captain. It's good to feel useful in retirement. I'm sorry to be so miserable just when everything has taken a turn for the better. Rather a bad headache, that's all.
Yeah, I have a muzzy feeling myself. Must be to do with being cooped up for so long.
What about these drums, Ed? Will they do?
Tests show they'll support 2 tons before sinking.
Fine. Get at least twice as many as we'll need. An important point, everybody. We must have all tools and spares tied down. All tools to be attached to your belts. That's an order. Can't be wandering back to the stores once we're out at sea.
We have problems with breaking through the roof, Chief.
What's the trouble?
Well, we've tried using a bar on the mock-up, but the roof's too springy and it bounces back every time it's hit.
But will it happen when we're using a 15-meter pipe with dust packed round it? Do a test, see if it absorbs the recoil.
Yeah, there's another problem. Most of the control circuitry is in the roof, and it's too tough to put a clean hole through it. If it splinters, it could put one of her main systems out.
Well, we'll have to bore. Use a detachable bit. How's the rest of the plumbing coming along?
Oh, it should be ready in 2 or 3 hours, Chief.
Good. I'll be back in 2. Oh, blast. Lawrence.
Ah, Mr. Lawrence. It's Dr. Lawson here.
Oh, hello, Doctor. Did you sleep well?
To my shame, yes, and a very long time.
You had quite a day. Is there anything you need?
No, thank you. I'm being looked after extraordinarily well. I'd just like some advice from you.
Certainly. Anything at all.
I appear during my hours of slumber to have become something of a celebrity in my own way, and I'm being inundated with questions from the media. What shall I do?
Just tell them everything that happened. Enjoy yourself, Doctor.
Well, it does seem rather decadent here in this luxurious hotel room. Tourist Commissioner Davis said I could have anything I fancied. Rather a rash statement, I thought, when I like unlimited use of all the Grange's facilities to study the planet Gagarin 1.
I'll consider it a personal favor if you keep the newsboys off my back.
If you put it like that, I shall do my best.
I'm sure you will, Doctor. See you later.
I'm sorry to make a fuss, Sue, but if you got something for my headache...
Excuse me, I am also suffering.
We do have some mild painkillers. I'll get them.
Mr. Mackenzie, could you come through to the bridge? The captain would like to see us.
Yes, of course.
Oh, if they're for a headache, I'd like some too.
Mac, I'm afraid we've got another serious problem on our hands.
Another one?
I'm afraid so. It appears we're experiencing a build-up of carbon dioxide.
But I thought it was safe for another few days.
Yeah, under normal circumstances, but unfortunately I think the heat's affected the CO2 conversion system.
How long do you think we got?
Impossible to say accurately, but I'd say a matter of hours.
That doesn't give Lawrence time to get here with his team.
It could be a bit of panic.
Oh, I'm not too delighted myself.
Any ideas?
Oh, there's always the sleep treatment.
It would have the respiration rate.
Well, that's all we can do then.
I'll have a word with him while you radio through, Pat.
Right. I'll come with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid I have some grave news. You may have noticed some difficulty in breathing.
Now we have.
And several people have complained of headaches. I'm afraid it's the air. We still have plenty of oxygen, but the carbon dioxide we breathe out isn't escaping. The chemical conversion unit has been affected by the heat. As we see it, there's just one chance. We must render ourselves unconscious.
How can we do that?
A sleep or respiration rate is halved, and the air will last twice as long.
How do you propose we do that, Commodore?
Sue, I take it the first aid kit is the standard issue.
Yes, Commodore.
Could you pass it, please? Now, this, for those of you who might not know, is a standard sleep tube. Now, each tube is sufficient to render an adult instantaneously asleep and keep them asleep for approximately 10 hours.
I'm having none of it.
Now, please, let me finish. We don't have any other choice. 2 people will remain awake. 1 will be the captain.
And I suppose the other one will be you.
No. I'm taking the easy way out. Just to show you how harmless it is, I'll go first. Now, you just unscrew the top and put this end against your forearm. And press here. I'll see you all in 10 hours.
Sleep well, Commodore.
There's no need to worry about that. This stuff just...
The rescue base know our position. All that remains is to take a sleep tube. Ah, I see the Commodore has set us a good example.
I'm a paying passenger and I have my rights. I have no intention of taking one of those.
Miss Morley, I am not arguing with you. I am in total charge of this vessel and its occupants. I am tired, I am hot, and my head is banging. I'd much rather sleep, but it's my duty to stay awake.
Morley, we must help the captain. We must preserve the good air. Please pass me one, miss.
Thank you, Professor. Let's not waste any more time. These are microjet hypodermics. You won't feel a thing.
Here you are. Please,
thank you.
Pass them around.
Please, this way, this way.
Thank you.
I refuse to do it.
What really worries the lady, Captain, is she thinks you'll take advantage of her while she's asleep.
Dare you? I've never been so insulted.
Neither have I.
Oh, give me the damn thing. Don't come any closer.
Sleep tight, Miss Morley.
Everything will be all right. I know it will. Are you comfortable, Mr. Schuster?
Oh, yes, thank you, Sue. Look, Mara's already asleep. See you later.
Cellini to Chief Engineer Lawrence, Port Roris Control. Come in, please.
Hello, Pat. Lawrence here. How did it go?
More or less as planned. Myself and Duncan Mackenzie are the only 2 left awake.
I'll give it to you straight, Pat. Even if we don't hit any snags, we can't reach you in under 5 hours. Can you hang on?
We'll have to. Mac's getting the oxygen supply from the spacesuit. It's the passengers I'm worried about.
All you can do is check their breathing and give them a blast of oxygen when it's necessary. We'll do our best. You can rely on that. Any more you want to say?
No, I'll call you every quarter of an hour. Cellini out.
I've got the oxygen.
You go first. All right. We'll take it in turns to keep a check on the passengers.
I never thought breathing could be so enjoyable. Here you are, Pat. How long will this last?
About 12 hours between us. Don't know how much the others will need.
What have you found to smile at?
Sorry, I was just thinking I wouldn't have much chance if you decided to keep the bottle for yourself.
I thought all you moon-born men were sensitive about that.
Oh, no, it's never bothered me. Couldn't help being born in a gravity 1/6 of yours. How could you tell?
How you're built, mainly. You all have the same tall, slender physique. And your skin. The lamps never seem to give the same tan as natural sunlight on Earth.
I've never been to Earth, never will. Couldn't take the gravity. Looked Australia plenty of times through my telescope. Yeah. I have a sentiment for it. My parents took off from Woomera.
Oh, Woomer's an Aboriginal word meaning a booster stage for spears.
Wow. Well, live and learn. I'd better go check the others.
You might not get your story after all, Mr. Spencer. If that oxygen cylinder runs out.
You sound a heartless man, Skipper.
Just one of life's realists. That right, Lester? I hope they get the poor devils out. Feel like a goddamn vulture sitting up here on a mountain shelf.
Well, I hope it's going to be a rescue, not an exhumation.
Have to be quick. Captain Harris didn't sound too perky last time he reported in.
Cellini calling Lawrence. Come in, please.
Pat, we aren't far away. I can see the probe. It won't be long now.
At last. It's the heat as well as the carbon dioxide.
I know. Don't talk unless it's absolutely necessary. I'll leave this wave band open, and I'll do the talking. I'll let you know everything that's going on, okay, Pat?
All right.
My God, this is better than I could have hoped for. We'll go on air as soon as you can take me. I'll do the intro, and then you can pick up Lawrence on the security radio wavelength and let him do all the work, huh? My cue out will be, the next voice you hear will be that of Lawrence himself.
Understood. Coming to you in 20 seconds.
Okay.
What about the epic struggle for survival and all that?
This could be the greatest event in live television, and I must insist on silence. That's if you want a big fat bonus, huh? What do you say, Skipper?
Lester, shove that cotton-picking banjo and keep your mouth shut.
You'll be on air in 5 seconds from now. 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is Morris Spencer, coming to you live from the Sea of Thirst, Earthside, the Moon. The points of light you see on the right of your screens is Chief Engineer Lawrence and his gallant crew of rescuers. The probe sticking starkly from the surface of the sea is the only link 22 people entombed in the dust cruiser Cellini have with the rest of humanity. I'm going to leave the man in charge of the rescue, Chief Engineer Lawrence, to describe his plans to bring the 22 people to the surface, as he is in direct contact with Captain Pat Harris of the stricken craft. I'll leave the hellish conditions down there to your imagination. It's very hot, and there is a serious buildup of carbon dioxide. Let us pray to our own God that Lawrence can get them out of there in time. The next voice you hear will be that of Lawrence himself.
Uh-oh. We got big trouble, Mr. Spencer. I have Tourist Commissioner Davies on a priority channel.
Hell. Okay, I'll handle him, Skipper.
Right.
Hello, Commissioner Davies. How are you?
I don't know how you got there so quickly, Spencer, but you've got 1 minute to get off the air. Don't you have any sense of moral decency?
I'm just doing my job the best way I know how, Commissioner.
Off in 1 minute, or your channel loses its franchise.
Let's not get excited, Commissioner. What's the problem?
We have nothing to discuss, Spencer.
I've got one of the greatest news items in Moon history. That's what we've got to discuss. Now, calm down, Commissioner, and, let's look at it from your point of view.
What the hell do you mean?
Strictly between us, Commissioner. Think positive, huh? What way can this tragedy benefit you and your department?
I don't think I follow you.
You must be going through a pretty hard time, huh? Tourist boss with 22 people incarcerated. It doesn't look, too bright for the future, does it?
What are you getting at?
I think we could be men who, understand each other. You could break me and my station, but in the minute I'd take to get off the air, I could break you.
Are you threatening me?
Damned right I am. But I'm also offering you a deal.
I don't have to take this from you.
Commissioner, I have an audience of 200 million people and rising by the minute. I could tell them what a job you've done here on the moon, what tourism is like here, and what it could be. I could have your hotels and pleasure domes overflowing. We've got the solar system sat on the edge of their seats, Commissioner. What do you say?
We're here, Pat, right above you. Would you believe there's a spaceship just on the ledge in the mountains waiting for all of you to come out and take your photographs?
Well, must remember to comb my hair. Why didn't you land there and save time?
Wouldn't have saved time, Pat. The ledge is too high, and there are too many rocks to climb. We'd have spent longer getting our equipment down from there and across the sea. How are you?
Max giving oxygen to Mrs. Schuster. She's in a bad way. It seems to be getting foggy in here. Or is it just me?
We're ready to drill now.
I think the bottle's nearly empty, though.
We're on our way. The first section's 5 meters down. Hang on.
Yeah, I'll just have a sleep until you come in.
No, Pat. No, keep awake. Talk to me. How's Mac?
Who?
McKay.
Why is it so foggy in here? I've only seen fog on videos.
God damn it, Ed. We should have made the drill detachable from the surface. He isn't going to have the strength.
We had to risk it. There wasn't time to improve it. There. It's there. We've hit the roof.
Pat, do you hear that? The first pipe is there. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I heard you. You're on the roof.
Listen very carefully. You're seconds away from fresh air, but this is very, very important. We will bang it a couple of times, and you have to tell us if it is clear of the circuitry. Do you understand? Pat.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that clear?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah.
Start the drill. We've got to risk it now. Pat, listen. This is very important. Your pressure down there is greater than up here on the surface. Do not undo the bit until we tell you, or air will escape up the pipe. Do you understand that? Do not undo the bit. We didn't have time to fit a non-return valve.
We're through, Chief.
Mac, it's through! It's through!
Thank God. Coleman, Matsui, help George with the oxygen line.
Chief, I think he's undoing the bit.
Pat, Captain Harris! Do not, repeat, do not disconnect the bit until I tell you.
It's too late. He's going to pull a vacuum.
Get that generator at full pressure, quickly.
Commissioner Davies, there's a huge jet of mist or something, like a geyser shooting up in the air.
I can see it on my set.
I must comment on it to my viewers.
Is that agreed then, Mr. Spencer?
Yes, Commissioner. It's been a pleasure doing business with you.
If that geezer means they're all dead, I still want the same arrangement. Is that agreed?
Of course.
And no comments at all from Lawrence?
That's already been actioned. We can all benefit from this, Commissioner.
Pat, are you all right?
I put a book over the end of the pipe. The air was going out instead of in. It's gotten very dark in here.
You had us all scared there for a moment, Pat. Everything's going to be all right. Okay, George. Pat, we're going to blast that book away with the sweetest smelling oxygen you've ever known.
That's fantastic, Chief. Mac, come and lie over by the pipe. Mac, you okay?
Yeah, I'm all right. Why is it so dark?
They got through to us. The main lights are out.
I went to sleep.
No, it doesn't matter. They aren't all breathing properly. Can you give artificial respiration?
Yeah, sure. Mrs. Schuster's a strange colour.
Oh, do what you can.
How's it going down there?
Hang on. Give us a few minutes. We got to give some artificial respiration.
Mrs. Schuster's breathing.
Yeah, I think we might make it.
We're giving you oxygen at the lowest temperature we think is safe, so don't be alarmed. When we've cooled you down, let us know.
How are they, Mac?
Oh, they're all alive up to now.
I think we're going to be all right.
Pat, in about 5 minutes, we'll be sinking the second pipe. We'll bang on the roof again to make sure we are clear of your controls. It's looking good, Pat.
As you can see through the transparent dome that encases the rescuers, the first stage, dropping an independent oxygen supply to the stricken Cellini, has now been completed. Another pipe, a vent pipe, is now being lowered by Chief Engineer Lawrence and his crew to complete the respiratory circuit. As the rescue continues to unfold live on this channel, I cannot help, even with a lump in my throat, thanking the good Lord for granting us people like Chief Engineer Lawrence, working under the leadership of Tourist Commissioner Rex Davis. I've tried repeatedly to talk to the Commissioner on the air, but he won't budge from his single-minded task of getting these people out alive and well. Perhaps he'll speak to us later.
You're through, Chief.
Okay, Pat. Now unscrew the bit, and then you can relax just a little. Is there anything you require urgently?
No, I don't think so. I'm going to get the main lights back on before they all wake up.
Fine. Our igloo above you is being pressurized now, so that should make our work a little more comfortable and avoid the danger of any more air escaping. Once you're out of there, we'll ferry you back to base in 4s or 5s, after a preliminary check by medics. What the hell was that?
It was just a sneeze. It's getting quite cool down here now.
All right, we'll put the oxygen temperature back to normal. The ski borrowed from Farside is just arriving. Nearly there, Pat.
Okay. Breathe deep, everyone. We have fresh air again.
Pat, how are we doing?
So far, so good, Commodore. Breathe deep. I'm just unscrewing the vent pipe. Yeah. Come on, Sue. Wake up.
What's happening?
Breathe. Enjoy the oxygen.
Oh, it's so cold.
We're going to be all right.
What's happened?
They got through to us, Professor. Breathe.
Thank God.
My goodness.
Make sure anyone who is still asleep is breathing normally and keep them warm.
I'll do a tour of inspection.
Good girl. You okay, Mac?
Yeah, terrific. Mrs. Schuster, you had me worried for a while.
Good to see you, Mr. Mackenzie. Irving, you sleeping in?
It's a vacation, Myra. You sure you're all right?
I'm fine. Did I snore, Mr. Mackenzie?
Myra, 40 years married. You still amaze me.
I'll get the main lights back on. Just relax.
All right. How did they propose to get us out, Pat?
I think you'd better ask Chief Engineer Lawrence, Commodore. Come under the bridge with me.
Hey, what's happening anyway?
Pat,
Yes, Chief.
we've stabilized pressures now. We'll have to give you a boost now and again, but most of the time the pipes will be open-ended.
Great. I'd like to introduce Commodore Hanstein to you.
Very pleased to talk to you, Chief. Thanks for the fresh air.
My pleasure, Commodore.
What's the plan to get us out, Chief?
At the moment, we've just rigged up an igloo above you. That means we don't have to work in spacesuits, and when you come up, you'll be in a pressurized atmosphere. We're going to use a large sectional cylinder that'll sink under its own weight. We've more than enough sections to reach you, and the pressure of the tube will make the seal. Then we'll have a sort of well shaft down to you, and I have the dubious honor of cutting through Cellini's roof.
That sounds straightforward enough.
We're starting now. The sections are sealed with a rather flimsy material that stops the dust coming up, but won't stop me getting down.
We seem to be in capable hands, Pat.
Yes, I think we are.
Oh, you look tired, Pat.
Well, I feel it. Mackenzie was a great help. Is everybody all right?
They've all come through it very well.
We're down more than 8 meters, more than halfway.
Pat?
Yeah, Mac?
How far down was the oxygen pipe when it first entered the cabin?
About a meter.
Take a look now.
I see what you mean. Chief, have you pulled the vent pipes up at all?
No, there's been no need.
We're still sinking. The dust must never have settled.
We're within half a meter of you. Almost there.
When that tube hits us, it might shove us down.
Lawrence, we're still sinking. You'll have to give us more airline and make it quick.
What the hell's that? The suction pump from Cellini's out of the ship and in the dust. We're pulling dust. Switch it out. Cellini, what's happening?
Pat, the rear pipe's out. Dust spraying in. And we're tilting. The airline's out. Dust's coming in from both.
Did you get that?
Yes, okay. Here, get those pipes out and new bits of there.
Keep your head down. It's easier than this. Myra, can you listen?
It's so dark. The dust is floating everywhere.
Now we must jam the holes. Use my shirt. Commodore, will you block the other one, please?
I can't see. My eyes are full of dust.
Hang on, I'm coming your way.
What's going on there?
The lights are still on. It's the dust.
You all right, Commodore?
I've managed to jam the hole, I think, but I can't see a thing. My eyes are clogged up with the dust.
Pat, they've drilled again, but it's gone into the bridge's control panel.
Lawrence, can you hear me?
Yes, Pat, what the hell is going on?
You've drilled into the control panel. Take it up and come rear a meter. Everybody stay calm. Cover your mouths and noses up with clothing.
Right, we're drilling again.
Yes, go ahead. Mac, be ready to detach the bit.
Right.
Get through to us.
Good. At least you've got oxygen. All right, now let's get that cylinder down to the roof.
She's on an uneven keel. We won't seal properly now.
Get on.
Mac, the bit.
Okay.
They better get must be.
I'm tying a rope round my ankle.
Be quiet, please. Be quiet, everyone, please. We have to listen to
First with a grinder.
Shush.
I'll cut a hole in the hole, then you pull me up again. Then drop the rope ladder.
It's too risky, Chief. It won't seal. You might get stuck. If the Selene sinks anymore, you'll drown in the dust.
Shut up, Ed. I can't think of anything else. Put the power under the grinder, George. Give me a hand with the rope. I'm going down, right?
Bits off, Pat. We have air again.
Good. Stand back, they're cutting through.
Captain, the dust is more than a meter deep at this end.
It's pouring into the bridge.
I'm through. Keep that damn rope tight, Ed. I don't want to drop in. Pull me up. Pull me up. The dust is pouring in. I'm choking.
I think the bridge is beginning to smolder.
That's where they drilled into the panel. Close the door. We get a spark, we could explode.
Pull me up, Ed. Get me out.
Oh, my God.
Chief, the bridge has exploded.
Grab the rope ladder. It's coming down to you.
You see the ladder there?
Dust in my eyes. I can't see a thing, Ed. I'm heading down my arms.
There's the ladder. Now quickly, start climbing. Come on, next, quickly.
Help me, I'm
All right.
stuck in the
That's it.
Help me, madam.
Atta girl.
Someone help, please.
Are we getting out?
Next, quickly.
Hold on tight, Commodore. I'll get you out.
The bridge door isn't going to hold.
How many people are out, Sue?
11. Halfway there.
Keep it moving, eh?
Come on, Myra. Get up there.
I'm not leaving you, Harvey. I'll get stuck. Put her up. She can't climb.
Goodbye, Myra.
What's happened? I can't see.
The bridge door's gone. There's a tidal wave of dust from the bridge.
Hey, grab that hand quickly. Someone's gone out.
Okay.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on, Miss Morley. I've got
Come
you.
on, darling. Yeah. Come on, darling.
How many more?
It's just the four of us. If anybody's buried, they're lost.
You next, Commodore.
If Sue's still here, she should...
Get up there and don't waste time. You next, Sue.
That's 20 with the girl.
Go, Mac.
Hang on to the ladder, Pat, or you'll go under.
Don't worry about me. I'll be okay.
There's just the captain left. Drag him up. Drag him up. Come on, then. Or we'll lose him.
He's coming up. Oh, you're all right, Pat.
Welcome aboard, Pat. Lawrence here.
I can't open my eyes, Chief, but it's good to hear you.
I can't see you either, but the medics are just arriving. Make them comfortable, Ed.
You did a great job, Lawrence.
I've never been so frightened in all my life. Thought for a moment I was going to join you.
What the hell caused it in the first place?
Moonquake. A chance in a million.
And I always thought I had a nice, safe job.
Confirmation has just arrived that all 22 passengers and crew buried in the dust cruiser Selene have been rescued unharmed by Chief Engineer Lawrence and the team put together by Tourist Commissioner Davis. They're all alive and well. After a chance in a million moon dust fall, the rescue operation has been a total success. And we now have a live interview with the man responsible for all tourism on the moon, Rex Davis. Commissioner.
Please, call me Rex. I must apologize for not speaking to you earlier, but I had other things on my mind. Even though I had 100% confidence in Jim Lawrence and his crew, I felt it my overriding responsibility to be on hand at all times.
We understand, Rex. Was there ever a time when you thought they may be lost?
No, not for a second. If this mishap has taught us anything, it's that the personnel on the moon are equipped to deal with any emergency. And as man becomes even more adventurous, we will be tested again and again, and again and again we will prove ourselves equal to the task. Why, even now, there's a man who wants to pioneer dust skiing as a sport.
Do you mean like water skiing?
Exactly. Out there on the Sea of Thirst. Isn't that an exciting prospect?
It is indeed, Rex. I see, as we speak, more of the team of highly trained medics are arriving at the rescue point, just as planned. When do you think the passengers and crew will be available for interview, Rex?
Oh, now, Morris, we don't want to rush these people. Let's give them a chance to experience some lunar hospitality, all courtesy of the tourist board, of course.
Well, I think you know best, Rex. Who is this enterprising man who wants to pioneer dust skiing?
He's an Australian champion. And I have high hopes that he will be only the first of many who will wish to visit the Sea of Thirst. Who knows? It could even become the moon's main recreation center.
In A Fall of Moondust by Arthur C. Clarke, adapted for radio by Andrew Lynch, David Buck played Captain Pat Harris, Barry Foster, Engineer Jim Lawrence, Roland Karam, Tourist Commissioner Davis, Bill Simpson, Commodore Hanstein, Richard Pearson, Dr. Lawson, James Aubrey, Morris Spencer, Libby Morris, Myra Schuster, Harry Taub, Irving Schuster, and Jane Knowles, Stewardess Sue Wilkins. Miss Morley was played by Brenda Kay, Mackenzie by John Rye, Professor Joe Wediner by Saeed Jaffrey, Skipper by Ed Bishop, Lester by Guy Gregory, Ed by Hayden Wood, George by David Timpson, Ingrid by Christine Absalom, and Anne by Amanda Murray. The banjo was played by Peter Sayers. A Fall of Moondust was directed by Glyn Dearman.
Dan Dare, The Voyage to Venus, dramatized for radio by Richard Curti and Bev Doyle.
That was interesting.
Ease off, Dare. Ease off.
I thought you wanted Kingfisher tested.
Not destroyed. You're sitting in £5 billion of taxpayers' money.
Never quite sure how many zeros that is. Now we're getting somewhere.
Ease off. That's an order.
The only way to find a breaking point is to nudge right up to it.
Dare, land the plane.
Like that.
Immediately.
With pleasure, Ma'am. Now that we know for sure those billions were well spent.
What do you think, Colonel Dare?
She's a beauty.
I knew you'd like her.
Could fly her all day.
Let's hope the top brass let you near her again, sir.
I'm not testing it for them. Engineers need real-world data, and now you've got it.
We certainly have, sir. I think this will be for you.
I don't know. Tread on your port wing tire looks a bit worn.
If there isn't a law against flying like that, there bloody well should be, sir.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Thought you would.
Do I know you, Lieutenant?
Just get in the car, please. Sir?
Thanks for the offer, but I've got a post-flight debrief to attend.
Change of plan. You've been summoned to Interplanet Space Fleet in London.
The ISF?
Now, sir.
What's this about, Lieutenant? Has someone made an official complaint? Are you always this chatty?
Still an inquisitive bugger, I see.
So we have met.
Not for about 20 years. You may be bigger, but you haven't really grown up that much.
Did you know my father?
Feeling a bit tired right now. Long drive ahead. I'd rather not talk, sir.
Come.
I brought Dare, Sir Hubert.
Oh, thank you, Digby.
Sir?
Come in, Colonel. Come and sit down. Tea?
I'd rather have an explanation, sir.
How did I know you were going to say that? I've been going through your files. Every year, without fail, you apply for transfer into the ISF, even though it's been scrapped for 10 years.
It won't be scrapped forever.
And you could be sure of that how, exactly?
Well, these very smart offices are still open. And you're still in charge.
Doesn't mean we're jetting off to other planets.
We need to be out there. We must be.
Intriguing how every application you make is on the same date. The anniversary of the Orion orbiter disaster.
Your point being, sir?
Your father was a great test pilot.
So why didn't you tell that to the Inquiry?
They'd already made up their minds. The space program was going to be cancelled. Money had a lot to do with it. Dropping a spaceship on Birmingham just brought matters to a head.
They made my father a scapegoat.
You want to be careful who you accuse of what.
He's an easy target. A man on a life support machine can't defend himself.
There was some evidence of pilot error.
I didn't come here to rake up the past.
You didn't come here at all. You were brought here. By me. Now, if you really want to clear your father's name, I suggest you sit down and accept this mission.
What mission?
How big a risk are you prepared to take to get back into space, Colonel Dare?
Risk is my job.
You can take the blindfold off now, Colonel Dare.
I don't know why you're bothered, sir. I'd have been interested to see New Duxford from the air.
How did you...
11 minutes north-northeast of London at 350 miles per hour. What else could it be?
Well, needless to say, official secrets and all that. Take your firstborn, etc.
Understood, sir. So much for money being tight.
And this is just one shift. But trust me, we need every last man. They've got a lot to figure out.
Couldn't you just pick the space program up where you left off?
Funny you should mention that. Fact is, we didn't actually leave off.
What?
Shall we? 7 years ago, a strange vessel crashed near the military base in Lancashire. At first, we thought it was a spy plane. But when we got inside, it was packed with technology we simply couldn't understand.
The Chinese?
Way beyond them. Way beyond anything human.
You're telling me aliens landed? In Lancashire?
There were no living creatures on board, but the technology promised wonders. Couldn't just ignore it. So the space program was restarted. Off the record.
Right. Money can always be found when governments want it.
If only it was that simple. The fact is, the Whitecoats have unraveled all sorts. Plasma drives, nanobots, self-healing alloys, superbiotic drugs prove very tempting to industry.
Space exploration shouldn't be exploited for greed.
Surely you mean prosperity?
Ah, there you are. Professor Jocelyn Peabody, Colonel Dan Dare. I believe it's customary to shake hands. Or not.
Everything has to pay its way. But then I wouldn't expect a flyboy like you to understand. Too much time with your head in the clouds.
I'd rather have my head in the clouds than stuck down a test tube.
As a matter of fact, Peabody isn't just a scientist. She's research director for the Eagle Corporation. They're actually paying for all this.
Which technically makes me your boss.
You privatized the space program.
Peabody's hardly an accountant. Probably knows more about aerodynamics than you do.
There's more to flying than aerodynamics.
Especially when you're flying to Venus.
Venus?
Sorry, I forgot to mention.
These markings, we found them engraved on some of the hull fragments.
Not like any language I've ever seen.
They're pictographs. NASA used something similar on the Pioneer probes 70 years ago. So far, we've established they're a message from a creature called Sonda on Venus.
Your translation must be wrong. Venus is too hostile for life.
On the surface, it's all hot and toxic. Even worse than the Eagle boardroom.
You want to try Whitehall?
But in the cloud belt that surrounds the planet, there are more possibilities. That's where we're going.
In a nutshell, your mission is to put Peabody's head in the clouds of Venus, so to speak. Moving on.
With the launch date approaching, we need to ease the space program out of the shadows, which is where you come in, Colonel Dare.
Handsome young pilot to capture the public imagination and all that.
We don't want to miss a trick.
So I'm just a marketing gimmick?
No. You're the brave commander who'll make first contact with an alien species.
A bold step into the future.
Remarkable moment in human history.
Which is why we need someone who's easy on the eye.
Easy on the eye? That's why I'm here.
No, we all admire your flying skills.
Goes without saying naturally.
But there's a bigger picture to think about as well.
So, what do you say, Dare?
10 applications on your desk, and you still have to ask.
Excuse me, sir.
It's okay.
Wards are the other way.
I know where I'm going.
That's high dependency only.
Dad, how have you been? I brought some fresh flowers. There's going to be someone else coming in for a while. I'll be going away. It's not been officially announced, but I can tell you, they've finally given me a chance to go back into space. I'm commanding a mission to Venus. And when I return and have proved what the Dares are really made of, they'll have to listen to me. Finally, we'll clear your name. Here, I made you another recording. The latest installment, based on a true story. Ready? Let's go straight over to Kingfisher, the latest ramjet prototype, where brave test pilot Dan Dare is putting the beast through its paces. Much to the horror of the flight controls.
Ease off, Dan. Ease off.
But our intrepid hero is undaunted.
I thought you wanted Kingfisher tested.
Not destroyed.
Didn't anyone tell you? Mobiles have to be turned off in here.
Lieutenant Digby, are you stalking me?
You're not the only one who remembers. Matter of fact, I visit William every month. Oh, see, you already brought flowers.
So he doesn't need yours.
Steady with the attitude.
He doesn't want anything from military brass, except an apology.
Well, that's way above my rank.
Yes. They all hid behind rank when they chewed him up and spat him out.
It was more complicated than that.
Well, right now we're busy, so whatever you want, it'll have to wait.
I'm afraid it can't. Training for the Venus mission's been brought forward. We start this afternoon.
We? Don't tell me you're coming as well.
And the problem is?
This is about first contact, not invasion.
Correct.
But you're more boots on the ground than one small step.
With all due respect, sir, you have no idea what I am.
Maybe that's what worries me.
Why don't I just take you to your new ship? Car's outside. There she is. Anastasia.
That is quite a piece of kit.
But unproved, which makes a high risk, like her commander.
Risk is the whole point of being a test pilot. You're always the first one in.
Glad to hear it. Launch is in 3 months.
So, when do I get to pick the rest of my crew?
You don't.
What?
It's just you, me, and Peabody.
So I'm commander of a ship where everyone thinks they're in charge?
Can't speak for Peabody.
What exactly is your role on this mission?
Crew security and weaponry.
But there's no need for weapons.
There's always a need for weapons.
This is a peaceful mission.
Prepare for the worst and you won't be disappointed. That's my motto, and I've been in most of the wars going this last 20 years.
I can see this is going to be a cheerful trip.
Suicide missions rarely are, sir.
I wouldn't know. Always make a landing you can walk away from. That's my motto.
Recording now.
Good morning, Earth. This is Colonel Dan Dare aboard the Anastasia, filing my last vlog before touchdown. Well, what can I say? This ship is a miracle of engineering. The plasma drives chewed up 45 million miles without a hiccup. The hull's self-repairing alloys breeze through the meteorite clouds.
No, Colonel Dare.
I'm in the middle of recording here.
Can't mention the hull.
What?
Commercially sensitive. Those alloys are controlled by the Eagle Corporation now.
I thought this mission was supposed to be one big advert for you.
Which is why timing is everything. Keep the vlog vague, but enthusiastic.
Presumably the Venusians will share in all your profits.
Seriously?
Well, it is their technology.
Sadly, aliens don't have bank accounts.
Convenient.
Pragmatic is the word you're looking for.
Not even close.
Just remember, no money, no space exploration.
Anastasia, this is Mission Control. Be advised, rendezvous with Venus in 10 minutes.
Roger that, Control. Commencing final diagnostic checks.
Not going to finish your vlog?
I'll do it from Venus. Won't have to be so vague. Unless, of course, Eagle Corporation owns the planet as well.
Early days.
I assume you're working on weapons applications for the alien tech? Only Digby's being pretty tight-lipped about the onboard firepower. Don't suppose you know anything about that? Eloquently put.
Right, the ship's done all the hard work. Now it's your turn. Ever flown in a super dense cloud before?
I guess it'll be like flying underwater.
Guessing's not very reassuring.
Are you positive those are the right coordinates?
I triple-checked them myself.
Only, there's nothing down there but clouds. And more clouds.
Over there! Look!
I must be hallucinating. Is that a city? Floating in the clouds?
What are you doing?
Taking us to civilization.
Our mission is to land at the coordinates.
But there's nothing there.
Sondar's instructions were very clear.
Maybe you mistranslated.
We've got no reason to doubt his coordinates.
What if Sondar made a mistake?
Everything he's given us has checked out.
But we have a visual on a huge flying city.
Peabody's right, Colonel. We don't know what the setup is. That could be a city of hostiles.
Let's just stick to the mission plan, yes?
Okay. But you better hold tight. It's going to get pretty bumpy in these clouds.
Can't see a bloody thing out there.
Head for the coordinates.
How deep is this cloud belt?
Goes right down to the surface.
Don't say I didn't give you options.
Starboard window. Seems to be some kind of floating platform.
Doesn't look big enough to land on.
A little more faith would be nice, Peabody. Down and stable.
Nicely done, Colonel.
A safe landing is included in the ticket price.
It's incredible. We are the first humans on Venus.
Mission Control, this is Anastasia. We made it. We're down safely. Mission Control, do you read?
Try a different frequency.
Diagnostics indicate there's RF interference in the atmosphere.
We'll try again in a few minutes.
I don't think it's going to change. It's not naturally occurring. Too regular.
So it's some kind of jamming signal?
Someone really doesn't want us to communicate with Earth.
Still have faith in Sondar?
And where the hell is he? It's deserted out there.
We're on our own either way. There's not much Mission Control could have done at this distance.
Let's open the hatch. Take a closer look.
Could be a supply platform.
I'm going down.
Nobody's going anywhere till the Cloud Rovers are armed.
Come on, Digby, it's just an empty platform.
We're not Boy Scouts on summer camp.
Where's your sense of adventure?
It vanished with our radio comms.
Don't worry, I'll just do a quick recce while you prep the rovers. Who knows? Sondar may have left us a note. Does this count as footprints in the dust of Venus?
It's as close as you're going to get.
Peabody, get some good shots of me. I'll need them for the vlog.
Any message from Sondar down there?
Not that I can see. But this platform's a nice bit of kit. There's thousands of tiny pipes threaded through it.
Maybe some kind of power generator.
So there's a massive city just over the horizon, and Sondar brings us to a big battery?
Have to admit, it's not the warmest of welcomes.
Back inside! In!
Seal all the hatches!
How many are out there?
At least a dozen.
This is why we follow protocol.
For God's sake, just shoot back!
Unauthorized presence on the main.
What the hell did they hit us with? Every muscle in my body ached.
Just be grateful that didn't go out on live TV.
Well, Peabody, looks like your friend Sondar led us into a trap after all.
It doesn't make sense. He gives us the tech to come all this way, then ambushes us?
News just in.
Manacles. Very old school.
I can just about see through the window.
Don't tell me. Clouds.
They're taking us to the city. It's massive. There's got to be 50 airships holding it up.
Can you see any creatures?
Still too far away. But whoever they are, they're smart. That is quite a construction.
Sit down!
I think the one in charge is a female.
How can you possibly tell?
Her shade of green is lighter.
Which tells us precisely nothing.
I wouldn't be so sure. Why not try a bit of female bonding?
Oh, maybe we could swap some makeup tips.
Peabody.
I think I can have a go at some of those sounds. The accent might be a bit off.
Do not even attempt the Trine language. Humans do not have the jaw for it.
You speak English?
We have been observing Earth for 200 years. Even our young mock humans speak. They find it engagingly crude.
Bloody cheek.
Not so crude we couldn't make it across 45 million miles of space.
You cannot conceive the caliber of intellect you are about to meet in the mind of our supreme leader. Then you will know how deluded you are. You will see.
That's got to be a good sign. Going straight to the top.
Or a very bad sign.
What can you see now?
Skyscrapers, monorails, waterfalls, and the whole city's sealed under some kind of dome.
What about the square for public executions? Any sign of that?
Digby, is the glass always half empty for you?
I come from Lancashire. Only posh people have glasses there.
If it's domed, the Trine can't breathe the Venusian atmosphere, which means they're not indigenous either.
So where the hell did they come from?
What matters is they've been here a lot longer than us, so show them some respect.
Why are you looking at me?
Because I know you, sir.
Up, up, move.
There's thousands of them.
At least they don't look too angry.
How would you know? We might be lunch.
You don't normally talk to your lunch first.
Just like that. They're all going.
They're either very obedient or very frightened.
That is how to run a city. So unlike the chaos of your human societies. Move! Kneel.
I'd rather stand if it's all the same to you.
Oh, everyone kneels before the Mikon.
Just do as she says and don't be such a pillock.
They're watching every corner of the city from here. And not just Venus. Look, they're picking up TV signals from Earth.
What's the point in having thousands of feeds coming back to one empty room? It's just chaotic, like Babel.
Only chaotic if you have a small brain.
What the hell is this?
Respect.
Mine can process 5,000 feeds simultaneously. Even more when awake.
I assume from the hovering throne that you're the Mikon.
The trivial-minded might think it was done for theatrical effect. In truth, I have long since dispensed with the need for limbs. Only my brain matters now. This device is the most efficient solution.
I bet it does a good barrel roll. Wouldn't mind giving it a try.
That would be most inconvenient, most disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
Mikon?
The title is Supreme Leader.
Supreme Leader? What better way to celebrate first contact between two intelligent species than by a mutual exchange of knowledge?
Indeed. Yet I only count one intelligent species in the room.
You shouldn't be too hard on yourself.
How many more times?
Your puerile behavior proves my point. I did not bring you here to ask, but to tell.
We're eager to learn, Supreme Leader.
You may be, yet as a species, humans worship ignorance.
He really has been watching too much television.
Up! Move!
Quite a view from up here.
Of course. I designed the tower myself, while mulling plans for an even greater structure.
This one's plenty high enough for me.
Not when the city is so prosperous. 20 million today, 25 million in 3 orbits' time. Nikonta is a triumph of reason and science.
We've got big cities on Earth.
Not like this. Look closely and try to leverage what little reason you have.
All seems pretty orderly.
Not pretty. Perfect. Everything is in perfect order. And you? What do you see?
I don't see any waste.
Ha! An amusing answer, if trivial. Waste is irrational, and therefore disposable.
Very good.
And you? The flippant one. What do you see?
When I was a kid, my father had a model train set in the attic. It was amazing. Everything worked so perfectly. All the little people were smiling, even the model cows. Only trouble was, no one was really alive. That's what your world looks like to me.
A clumsy metaphor, saturated with nauseous human failing of sentimentality.
Maybe you could do with a bit of that failing.
What you will never see on the streets of my city is poverty, or hunger, or crime. Because the sick are healed, the young are educated, and everything is planned by me. This is what happens when logic rules.
And when you make a mistake?
That does not happen.
Which is what they usually say just before it all goes wrong.
There are no exceptions. This is the greatest city in the solar system. The proof is stretched out before you. Millions of contented Kreen.
Have they ever asked for freedom?
Freedom is vastly overrated. People do as I instruct because they know I'm always right. To dissent is to be mentally aberrant.
You're seriously telling me, when the Treen see all the freedom on Earth, they don't want to at least try it?
They would find the chaos that accompanies your freedom too disturbing. Which is why I only put on the ethercast what is good for them to see.
So it's all censored?
Certainly seems to work. Might come here to retire. I could handle peace and quiet.
Because you don't have to.
Keep it calm, sir.
I didn't come 45 million miles to touch my forelock to a dictator. If we tolerate him here, next thing we know, he'll be invading Earth.
Such a tired cliché. Why would I want to touch your failed planet?
Strategic advantage?
I have perfection here. There is no benefit to an alien invasion.
But what if the aliens are us? Humans. Every corporation wants to neutralize its competition.
Sounds like an invitation to invade.
Or a negotiating tactic.
To what end?
A merger, rather than a takeover.
The female is the only one who shows any promise. Your mind is not without some appeal, which I find strangely stimulating.
Afraid you're too late. She's already got a boyfriend, Sondar.
Sondar is an irrelevance.
News just in. He's the one who sent all the technology to get us here.
That was my technology. My innovation. He stole it from me.
And he sent it with a message of freedom, not obedience.
Sondar and his followers are dangerous extremists, bent on undermining the peace and stability I have created.
Seems to me all he wants is a bit of freedom.
And do you know why? As an infant, he was poisoned by a radiation leak. It twisted his mind. His lust for freedom is nothing but a sickness.
Please, Supreme Leader, we meant no disrespect.
You will hand over all information you have about Sondar.
We don't know anything more about him. That's the truth, I swear.
Then I have no further use for you. Put them into storage.
Why don't I just kill them, Supreme Leader?
Because that is what a lesser mind would do. More humans will inevitably follow. Their sentimentality will make these specimens useful as hostages. Plenty of time to kill them later.
Feels like we're imprisoned in a giant Christmas bauble.
Make a nice picture for your next vlog. Oh no, there won't be one, 'cause we'll all be dead.
I never had you down as an appeaser, Digby.
If you just minded your tongue for once, we wouldn't be prisoners at all.
We don't tolerate dictators on Earth. We shouldn't tolerate them here.
So what if the Treen aren't free?
All creatures should be free.
You heard the Mekon. They think freedom is an illness. How can they miss what they've never had? At least the Treen have got peace. If we cause trouble, we'll just kick up a load of bloodshed and chaos. I've seen it happen time and again on Earth.
It's called fighting for justice.
You're just like your father. He always refused to see the bigger picture.
He had principles.
He made enemies. The simple fact is, unless we befriend the Mekon, we'll never get out of this bauble.
Some people you don't want as friends.
Don't get all high and mighty. He's a pragmatist. As am I. Corporate profit is the only reason we even came to Venus.
Maybe some things shouldn't be for sale.
I don't make the rules.
But you're happy to follow them?
No money, no space exploration. That's just the way it is, the way the world works.
Well, for a perfect society, they've got an awful lot of mental aberrants. There must be 50 capsules hanging under the city. Very elaborate for a prison.
Anyone who breaks out will plummet to their death. No hope of ever escaping from this.
There's always hope.
Don't start with that glass half full stuff.
The Mekon has given us exactly what we wanted.
How the hell do you figure that?
Now we know the politics of the Treen. We know who Sondar is, and we know that the tech he sent to Earth wasn't a gift, but a plea for help.
And a test. If the Treen have been monitoring Earth for 200 years, there's only one reason not to send the information in English. Sondar wants an ally who has brains as well as brawn.
Either way, there's bugger all we can do about it stuck in here.
I'm working on that.
Doesn't sound good.
They're winching up all the capsules.
Maybe it's feeding time?
Whatever they're doing, now's our chance to escape.
Without weapons?
They'll be expecting obedient prisoners. Yes? That's all the Treen know, obedience. I don't think the Mekon will have bargained on quite how troublesome humans can be.
What the hell's in that tanker?
Whatever it is, they're going to pump it into the capsules.
Disgusting!
Are they going to drown us?
Look! The other prisoners are lying down in it.
What's wrong with them?
Oh my god. It is feeding time. Osmotic feeding.
Meaning?
The treen feed through their skin.
Help! Over here!
The Meekan should have known we can't feed like this.
News just in. They don't cater for special needs in prison. It's like it a lumpet.
If the Meekan wants us alive, they'll have to let us out.
Over here!
We're drowning! The food! It's choking us! The second it's open, we rush the guards.
All of them?
If we can get to the tanker, we stand a chance.
Eat your own slop!
Peabody, grab one of the weapons.
Here!
Let's see if you're green all the way through!
Digby, leave him! Just get to the tanker! This is ours now. Sorry.
I'm not.
But you don't know how it works.
I'm a test pilot. I can drive anything.
Or destroy anything.
Well, I can certainly destroy their security. Now, if we can steal a plane, we can find our way back to the Anastasia.
There's got to be a map in here somewhere.
Looks like some kind of GPS. Yes, a plan of the city.
See if you can find a transport depot on it.
Mind?
Sorry. Traffic's a bit heavy.
Hang on a sec. If this is an official vehicle, there should be. There we go.
Couldn't you draw a bit more attention to us?
These train are so obedient, they'll stop for a siren without thinking.
Well, good call, Digby. Glad you came along.
I have my uses.
Yeah, except those guys can't hear the siren.
Which guys?
The ones in the attack planes.
Get us out of here, Peabody!
According to the map, we're going to be crossing over a tunnel soon.
Tunnel is good.
It's actually a rail tunnel.
What? Hold tight! But this is for trains!
Right now, it's the only tunnel we've got.
Should take us all the way to the edge of the city.
Perfect.
You're so bloody sure of yourself, aren't you?
Relax.
Cocky never ends well.
It hasn't let me down yet.
As I was saying...
50-50 odds, and we're speeding down the upline.
Reverse!
How far to the next station?
300 meters.
Hold tight. I'm going to backflip us onto the platform. Oh, it's no use.
Jump for it.
We're going too fast.
No choice. Jump.
I can't.
Do it.
Shall I start the procedure, Supreme Leader?
No. I want them to be conscious.
I'll administer the adrenaline.
Undo these! Undo them!
Little point struggling. Dissection tables are designed to hold the subject securely.
Dissection?
Let us go. You've no right.
You attack my city, then talk of rights? The irony. Why is it that humans cannot bear to see perfection? You see ice on a pond and feel compelled to stamp on it. You arrive in my perfect city and spread chaos, derail trains, kill innocent treen.
Please,
We meant no disrespect.
This goes far beyond disrespect. Even Sondar, the terrorist, does not stoop so low. My city has never witnessed such destruction.
We just wanted to get back to our ship. We meant no harm.
What you meant is irrelevant. You have declared war on the Mekon.
You threw us into jail. You can't blame us for trying to escape.
Too late for excuses. Far too late.
Supreme Leader, will you at least permit us to help with the cost of reconstruction?
I want nothing from humans, except perhaps to satisfy my curiosity as to what makes you so deeply flawed. This is why we execute by live dissection.
If your world is so perfect, how come there are any criminals at all?
The correct term is aberrants. Flawed units who don't understand the perfect logic of what I have created. There are always some feeble-minded malcontents who choose to turn away from reason. It is to try and eradicate these errors from future generations that we carve dissenters open, piece by piece, body and mind.
Shall I begin, Supreme Leader?
Do whatever you want with me, but release Peabody and Digby. Please. They were only following my orders.
Your heroics are amusing, but irrational.
It was my fault. Surely you understand that.
We need all three specimens. The first will be messy, but a good learning experience.
I thought you liked Peabody. You said she had promise.
That is an interesting point. Surgeon, I wonder if augmentation would be a more interesting approach.
I'll change the blades.
Please, stop this!
Leave her! Leave her alone!
Let us go, and you'll never see another human again, I swear.
Hold! Incredibly, you have said something that might actually be of interest.
Supreme Leader, for hundreds of years we've lived as neighbors in the solar system. Why can't we just carry on as before?
The only reason we lived in peace was because you had no knowledge of our existence. Otherwise you would have come and meddled. For sure.
But if you let us return to Earth, we can pretend that none of this ever happened.
Pretend is a weak plan. Unsustainable.
We'll file a report saying that the cloud flow was too hostile for life, that Venus is a barren planet.
Exactly. We'll make it clear that it's not worth any more effort or investment.
But we can only do that if we return.
Surgeon, what do you think? Can they be trusted?
Impossible to tell. From the outside, Supreme Leader.
I would so like to see inside a human brain.
It's vastly overrated. Trust me.
How can you speak with such authority? You don't even command the mission.
It's complicated. Let's just say I know someone who knows someone.
Interesting use of idiom to cloak the true meaning from your colleagues.
You can trust me on this.
But I hear nothing from you, the flippant one.
What happens to Sondar?
That is an internal matter which does not concern you.
Can we at least take him with us?
Forget Sondar.
We can't abandon him. He asked for our help.
And now he will die.
It's the only way.
Us dying won't save Sondar. It's just a waste.
I suppose we have little choice.
Finally, youthful arrogance is tempered by reason. You will be transported to your ship. You will depart immediately. And let me make this perfectly clear. If ever a human comes within our orbit again, they will be executed on sight.
Am I really like that creature?
The Mekon? No. Wrong color for a start.
I don't want to be a kindred spirit to a monster.
I think he just liked your logical mind.
What use is logic if it ends up as cruelty?
Don't beat yourself up. If he hadn't taken a shine to you, we'd all be in bits now.
Profit drives progress. Progress improves the world. Freedom, enterprise...
Peabody, you've nothing to feel guilty about.
No profit, no progress. That's how the world works.
Maybe it's how it should work, but I think you'll find things are a bit more buggered up.
Talking of which, who exactly is someone who knows someone?
Oh, that? You know me. Say anything to get out of a tight spot.
I think the Mekon would have seen through a crude bluff.
Maybe he's not as smart as he thinks.
Maybe. One thing's for sure. Whatever promise the Mekon made, he can't be trusted.
Dare. Let's just play it straight for once. We've made a deal, stick to it.
My guts are telling me this is a trap.
You're not testing a plane now. The choice is simple. We leave, or your precious guts will be spilled all over the Mekon's operating theatre.
Think it through. He knows how hungry humans are for Treen technology. He can't seriously believe we'll go and never come back.
Dare may have a point.
How exactly is letting us go free a trap?
The only way Treen security can be guaranteed is if human civilization is wiped out. The Mekon's had a whole day to route around the Anastasia. Maybe he's booby-trapped it.
Bloody nonsense.
Sending us back to Earth might really be an act of war. A first strike. We have to search the ship.
No one knows the Anastasia better than me. Don't fire the engines up until I've checked every inch.
Out. Move. You will launch immediately.
Steady. The pre-flight checks are going to take a while.
The Mekon has ordered immediate departure. It must be.
How do I know your guards haven't been fiddling with the controls?
They were not authorized to touch your ship.
Everything's still got to be checked. One button in the wrong position and boom. Could ignite the whole atmosphere and wipe out your city.
The Mekon would not have given an order that would endanger the city.
Well, unlike the Mekon, humans sometimes get it wrong. So you better let us do our checks.
Then work fast. Initiate countdown.
100, 99, 98.
At 0, you will be gone. One way or another.
94, 93, 92.
Diagnostics all look fine.
Same here. Cockpit recorders are telling me no one's been on board since we left.
There must be something.
Can't see anything out of place.
Search again.
But the weight loading is unchanged.
How do we know they haven't overridden our instruments? This is their technology. We're not taking off until we find the bomb, or whatever it is they've planted.
Then we're going to die right here in 70 seconds.
There may be one chance left.
You better make it quick.
If we prove our loyalty to the Mekon, he might spare us.
And how do we do that?
We promise to help him destroy Sondar.
No.
Sondar's a terrorist.
According to the Mekon.
We stop a terrorist to save Earth. What's so bad about that?
We are not becoming the Mekon's executioners.
There is another option. We take off, but we never return to Earth. Whatever the Mekon's done to our ship will only kill us.
Cheerful.
We're just trying to limit the downside.
We're not entries on a spreadsheet.
It's your call, Dare.
Colonel, you need to make a decision. Bloody hell, fire!
What's going on out there?
Someone's attacking the tree.
Open the weapons cache. We'll have to fight our way out of this.
Fight who? Who do we attack?
Let's go with my enemy's enemy as my friend.
Knowing this planet, they're probably 10 times worse.
Take up positions by the hatches. Anyone tries to board Anastasia, shoot them.
Okay.
Okay.
Whoever they are, they've certainly got some firepower.
Is it over?
Only one way to find out. Who's there? Show yourself.
Put down your weapons. We mean you no harm.
If it's all the same to you, we'll keep hold of our weapons.
Spoken like a true rebel. I am Sondar.
Finally!
These are my Treen, fighting for freedom.
You came just in time. Things were getting tricky.
Just in time? You're a whole bloody day late.
Digby, manners.
Where was he when we first landed? That's what I want to know.
You had to see for yourself how bad the Mekon really is.
What? Hang on. So you let us get captured?
My spies were keeping watch over you.
Could have fooled me. The Mekon was going to kill us.
Had you been in real danger, we would have intervened.
He was about to dissect our brains.
Too crude a tactic for the Mekon. He was always going to keep you alive.
How can you be so sure?
And when you have fought him for as long as I have...
Well, next time, let us in on the plan.
Bloody right.
I apologize if my tactics offend you. But now you understand why the Mekon must be deposed.
After the way you've played it, I trust you about as far as I can spit.
You want our help? First you help us. Show us where they've hidden the bomb on Anastasia.
I'm afraid it's not so simple. The weapon is not the ship. It is you.
What?
When you were on the dissecting table, the Mekon injected you with a virus.
What does it do?
Attacks the water inside your own body, desiccating every cell. As you collapse into dust, it is inhaled and passed on.
That's incubating inside us? Right now?
Bugger.
How long have we got?
It will only activate once you return to Earth's atmosphere.
He's turned us into Trojan horses.
There must be an antidote.
Only the Mekon knows the exact strain of virus. Only he will have the antidote.
The conniving rat.
And you wanted to do a deal with him?
No one can deal with the Mekon. He needs no one and cares for no one. Everything exists only to serve him.
Well, servility was never my strong point.
And thank God for that.
I'm sorry, is that Digby speaking?
There's quite enough people taking orders in the world.
Didn't you want to court-martial me a few weeks ago?
That was then. Right now, if you want to go and whack the Mekon, I'm with you all the way. And I've got a hefty stash of weapons on board to help.
We have used weapons against the Mekon for years. It is futile.
Then we'll get reinforcements from Earth.
He will intercept them.
Is the glass always half empty for you?
Annoying, isn't it?
It is impossible to win an arms race against the Mekon. That is why we sent a message to you, hoping you would bring something uniquely human.
Something the Mekon doesn't know how to fight.
Correct.
Now you put it that way, I think I know the very thing. Can you download audio files from the cockpit recorder onto my mobile?
Yes, but...
Good. Digby, come with me into the hold. I want to record you screaming.
Are you out of your flaming mind?
Peabody, as soon as you've done, I want your screams too.
We don't have time to play games.
If we can't outgun the Mekon, we have to outsmart him.
You can't outsmart an intelligence like his. It's impossible. He'll see every move coming.
Impossible isn't a word in my vocabulary.
Maybe it should be.
Look, the Mekon's power comes from his infallibility. So all we have to do is to show that he's made a mistake. Just one, but a big one. The aura of infallibility evaporates, and all that's left is a guy with an oversized head and a levitating chair. Ordinary Treen will panic, and that will give Sondar his chance.
Now you really are clutching at straws.
That's all that's left. Sondar, can you hack into the Mekon's communication systems?
The feeds to his surveillance room are encrypted.
What about the public transmitters? The ones Ordinary Treen get the ethercast on?
Perhaps. If we can seize a transmitter tower.
Put a team together. Digby, as soon as you scream for me, go with Sondar to help.
What the hell are we actually doing?
If you knew, you'd only tell me I was insane, so best not to ask. Peabody, I need to connect my mobile into Anastasia's computer hub.
Ah, this is bloody ridiculous.
Good, nice scream, Digby. Could we just try it again? Perhaps more fear than frustration this time?
You really are insane.
Stop here, or they will see us.
How tall is that transmitter mast?
This is nothing compared to the relay stations.
Hold up.
We go in, we kill.
Have you hit one of these before?
No.
So there's no reason for them to think it's a target.
Your point.
There's probably a couple of technicians in there just doing their jobs.
They could still raise the alarm.
Not if we lure them out.
In the depths of the cloud wilderness, what could lure anyone from a warm hut?
Honey trap. Works every time.
Meaning?
Have you got any attractive females in the troop?
Are you blind? It is obvious. Zila, step forward. Her mating potential is clear to see.
I'll take your word for it.
What does she do now?
Damsel in distress. Her cloud rover's broken down. She needs a nice, clever treen to help her out. As soon as the techies leave the hut, we pounce on them.
Not very heroic.
But very effective. Now, get into position.
Good. And again, as if your life's in danger. Perfect. Now, take some of the weapons outside and let's blow a few things up. We need to record explosions.
Do you need to stop?
You just worry about yourself, Sunshine. I'm fine.
There's a Digby, over.
A bit busy right now.
Sounds chilly up there.
Walk in the park.
Let me know as soon as you've hacked into their system. I've got some audio files to upload.
This had better be worth it.
I always fancied myself as a radio star. However this ends, it's one off the bucket list.
Please don't tell me I'm going to be disappointed, General.
The situation is a little unclear, Supreme Leader.
Not at all. It is clear to me the humans still have not launched.
The guards were under strict orders.
Then why am I not seeing vapor trails on my screens?
I don't know.
Is the wrong answer. And I have zero tolerance for wrong answers.
I'll take a transporter out there myself.
You should have done that first time, General. You, of all people, know you can never really trust those beneath you. Never.
Anastasia to Mission Control. On final descent into Earth's atmosphere, over.
What is that?
I don't know, Supreme Leader.
And where is it coming from?
It's jamming all frequencies.
Interplanet Space Fleet confirming final descent. Welcome back, Colonel Dare.
But this is impossible. The humans cannot be back in Earth's orbit.
Supreme Leader.
Not now. Leave!
Something's wrong with the Ethercast, Supreme Leader. Strange transmissions are being relayed all over the city.
Open the shutters.
Mission Control, we have a problem, over.
Go ahead, Anastasia.
It's the crew. Something's wrong.
Just focus on the landing, Colonel.
They're ill. Really sick.
You'll be down soon. Hang on, dear.
They're not gonna make it.
The virus is working, Supreme Leader.
Read my lips. The humans have not left Venus.
Mission Control, the crew, they're disintegrating. Right in front of me.
But it must be true, Supreme Leader. It's being broadcast.
Don't be an imbecile.
The Ethercast never lies.
And I am never wrong.
My hands, they're crumbling. My hands.
Colonel, override the computer. We'll try to land you from here. Colonel Dare, do you read? Dare? You have to alter course.
Trying. Impossible.
Pull up, pull up! You're on a collision course.
I can't move my hands. The pain.
Dare, give control to us before it's too late.
Did our attack on Earth just succeed?
You really are of more limited intelligence than I realized, General. The whole thing is a fabrication.
But why would the humans do that? Why would they broadcast their own destruction if it's not true? There is no tactical advantage. Why would they do that?
I don't know.
But, Supreme Leader, you always know.
I mean...
Missile launch protocol initiated. Seeking confirmation for retaliatory strike.
Strike confirmed.
Roger that. Target Venus.
Whatever's on that planet needs to be obliterated.
Confirmed. Deploying 1314 warheads. Target Venus.
Supreme Leader, the crowds are panicking.
Then take control. Order them to be peaceful. Nothing is wrong.
Interplanetary missile strike to commence in 10.
There is no
9.
Are you sure?
You dare to doubt me?
But if the humans are attacking...
Nothing is happening.
4.
They're storming the palace!
Stop them!
They're not listening anymore!
Order them to be calm.
Launch.
Supreme Leader? They think you've started a war. Guards, seal the doors.
Why are they being so stupid? Only yesterday the humans were paraded through the city. Every child knows it is impossible to get to Earth so quickly.
They hear it on the Ethercast, Supreme Leader. They know it is never wrong.
Can they not think for themselves?
Why would they? You think for us, Supreme Leader.
Open the doors. I shall address them.
No. If they see you, they'll tear you to pieces.
But they worship me. I have given them everything.
Supreme Leader, we should escape.
No!
I have mobilized a crew.
I will not run from my own subjects.
We must get to the cruiser now, Supreme Leader. It is the only way we can survive. If we leave now, we can fight another day. If we stay...
Well, did it work? Back of the net, sir. Back of the net. There goes his escape rocket. Amazing what a cocky bluff can do.
You sure it wasn't too cocky?
Only if it hadn't worked.
After all these years, doesn't seem possible.
The smarter they are, the harder they fall.
How can I ever thank you?
By showing the Treen what freedom really means.
I will try my best.
Need to do more than try. We've given our lives for this.
Come on, Peabody, no need to be so gloomy.
You may not be interested in going back to Earth, but I don't want to spend the rest of my life roaming in space.
We're only infected with a fatal virus. I've had worse.
You are a Port Vale supporter, after all.
Anyway, there must be an antidote.
I'm not so sure.
It'll be somewhere in the city.
Why would there be a cure for a weapon of mass destruction?
Because it's the only way to control it.
And control is the Mekon's middle name.
Then we will search everywhere. I promise.
You see, Peabody? 20 million Treen on the case. We're gonna be fine.
The crew are asking where we are heading, Supreme Leader.
Somewhere not defiled by human cunning. Somewhere I can build an even greater city.
But how could anything be greater than Mikonta?
That was a trinket, a dress rehearsal.
I believe we can rebuild our forces and take the city back, Supreme Leader.
I have no interest in such trivia. I need to reach further, grip tighter. Live and let live is no longer an appropriate philosophy. Human corruption is spreading, so I must spread further. Only when I control the whole solar system will reason finally prevail. All the planets must fall into line. My line.
It will be an honor to serve you on that quest, Supreme Leader. An honor.
Yes, I think it will be.
Transition Anastasia's computers to launch configuration.
Check.
Start fuel cell thermal conditioning.
Started.
Close cabin vent valves.
Closed. Bit of luck, we should be home in time for the cup final.
Can't wait to get the comms back up.
I wouldn't mention any of this in your vlog, sir. Not just yet.
Not until you've cleared it with someone who knows someone, right?
You've got it.
So what am I supposed to talk about? People will want to know what Venus is like.
Just keep it vague, but enthusiastic.
Truthfully, did you know what we were going to encounter up here?
Don't be daft.
You're a terrible liar, Digby.
I'm not lying. It's just you're not asking the right question.
Would you give me a straight answer if I did?
Put it this way. Don't you think it's strange the arrival of alien technology on Earth was kept secret all those years? Why would they do that?
Perhaps they didn't want to cause alarm or spread fear.
Very touching, sir. I do like the way you always think the best of people.
My father always taught me, think the best, and people will live up to it.
Didn't exactly turn out well for him, though, did it?
All the more reason to make it work. Just in time. We're about set to go.
So, is the antidote stick or swallow?
Neither.
Well, how are we supposed to take it?
Someone already has.
We interrogated the Mekon's scientists. That virus was his personal project. We've searched everywhere. There's no trace. The Mekon has taken the antidote with him.
That's it? The best you can come up with? Silence?
Optimism isn't my strong point.
We've beaten the Mekon once. We can beat him again.
Do not underestimate him. You've made yourself the worst possible enemy.
The way I see it, there can be no peace for the solar system as long as the Mekon's at large. We have to hunt him down. Search every planet and asteroid until there's nowhere left for him to hide.
Looks like we're going to be needing a few weapons after all, sir.
Too right, Digby, too right. This is no longer a peaceful mission.
In Dan Dare, The Voyage to Venus, dramatized for radio by Richard Curti and Bev Doyle, Dan Dare was Ed Stoppard, Digby, Jeff McGiven, and Professor Peabody, Hader Reed. Sir Hubert was Michael Cochrane, Sondar, Bijan Danishmand, and the Mekon, Raad Rawi. Treen General was Amber Ager, Flight Engineer, David O'Mahony, Flight Control, Kelly Burke, and the onboard computer was Diane Weller. Other roles were played by members of the cast.
Mission Control, are you getting this?
Affirmative, Tycho. We're seeing multiple warnings here.
Copy. We're seeing problems right across the board. Flight systems, thrust regulators, life support.
Tycho, be advised, emergency landing.
Negative, flight.
Come to new heading, 260, distance 18 miles.
Negative, flight. We have critical hull failure.
Tycho, can you jettison?
Negative. Everything's compromised. We are not going to make it.
Tycho.
It's gone. I repeat, it's gone. I've got nothing. I've got zero control. God help us.
Tycho, UHF comcheck. Tycho, UHF comcheck. Do you copy?
Take the hook and the bait
Hook, bait.
and slide the hook through the mouth.
Like this.
Jesus!
Look! Up there! It's a falling star.
I don't think so.
It's beautiful.
Pull the lines in.
But Dad...
Pull them in!
Spokesman from the Space Administration has warned anyone finding debris on the ground to call the authorities immediately. Do not touch or attempt to retrieve any wreckage, as it may be contaminated and harmful to health.
Look away.
But Dad, I want to watch.
Look away!
Why?
It's not a falling star. It's the moon shuttle. It's burning up.
What's his state of mind?
He spent 20 years flying around Pluto. 5 minutes after coming home, he's thrown in jail. What do you think his state of mind is?
Well, has he said anything?
He asked for a glass of cognac.
Well, I hope you're obliged.
No alcohol for prisoners. Rules are rules. I'll be right outside.
Captain Wilder.
You don't look like a wine waiter, so I'm assuming it's bad news.
The decision's been taken. I'm afraid you're going to be court-martialed. Article 91 of the Military Code. Insubordination.
You know what they delivered yesterday? A medal. Here to the prison. For outstanding achievement on the Pluto survey mission.
You disobeyed a direct order.
I'm just saying.
Look, why did you do it?
What does it matter now?
When I was 10 years old, everyone at school had a poster of you on their bedroom walls. The first human voice from Mars. The whole world was listening. I think I even wanted to marry you.
I'd think twice about that now. Just have to settle for being my lawyer instead.
All you had to do was come home and collect your pension. Was that too much to ask? So, why did you do it?
You're not the only one who got their head turned at 10. I was fishing with my dad. When the moon shuttle blew up, I watched those astronauts fall 38 miles to Earth. Imagine, the last thing you see isn't some emergency room with a paramedic trying to jump-start your heart. Imagine the last thing you see is the entire planet stretched out beneath you.
You became an astronaut just so you could have a beautiful death.
I got it into my head that up there, everything was beautiful, even death. When the first Mars mission vanished, I knew exactly where I had to be.
Mission control to Olympus 2, you are go for landing. Over.
Copy that.
Go for landing. 35 degrees. 400 feet. Down at 9. 58 forward.
Any sign of them down there, Hathaway?
Nothing yet. 300 feet. Down 3.5. 47 forward. Slow it up a bit.
Copy.
There's some shadows by the far crater. I can't be sure.
200 feet. 4 down. 28 forward.
I think it's a rocket. Look. It's Olympus 1.
100 feet. 3.5 down. 9 forward.
And she's still in one piece.
Any sign of the crew?
40 feet. Down 2.5. Picking up some dust.
No. I can't see anything through the dust cloud.
Contact light. And Shut down.
Engines stop.
Very smooth touchdown. Olympus 2, outstanding.
Nicely done, Captain.
Atmosphere viable, Captain.
Good to know they got that bit right.
When do we have a wrong, Olympus? Advise crew rest for 1 hour before you start EVA.
Copy that.
Rest? You must be kidding.
We should follow protocol. The stress of final approach.
With all due respect...
Yes, Parkhill?
We've come all this way, sir. I'm buggered if I'm going to take a nap.
Copy that.
But, Captain...
Hathaway, we're going to find out what happened to Olympus 1. If anyone's still alive, that hour could make all the difference. So, let's open the hatch and get going. Looks like she made a perfect landing, too.
How soon after touchdown did they vanish?
A few seconds. They'd barely landed.
But look, the hatches are open. They lowered the ladders. That takes time.
I was sat in mission control. It's not something you forget.
Captain, we should get back before that storm hits. We don't know how violent it'll be.
Look, footprints. All leading in the same direction. Where the hell were they going? It's like the entire crew just marched out.
Captain, that storm is racing closer.
We have to find out what happened.
We're going to the lip of the crater. No further.
Oh my God.
It's all of them.
No. It can't be.
Count them yourself.
But if the whole crew's here, who buried them?
16 graves. Neatly dug. In a straight line.
But... if the Martians killed them, why dispose of the bodies so carefully?
All those centuries dreaming of first contact. Now we knew for sure we weren't alone. We almost wish we were.
Well, Control should have aborted the mission.
Oh. The only reason we were there was to see if Mars was safe for colonization. That was the mission. While the crew set up base camp, Spender took the Explorer pod for a low-level flyover.
Well?
There are cities, Martian cities, peppered all over the mountains.
We didn't see anything when we landed.
You have to be right on top of them. They're built into the hillsides. I saw these incredible halls, like stadiums, and wide streets beautifully laid out. Strange sculptures like statues or maybe machines.
They're not savages, then?
Far from it. It's more sophisticated than anything you'll see on Earth. But the strangest thing was, I didn't see any living creatures. Not one.
So the cities were in ruins?
They were pristine, as if everyone had left yesterday.
Were they hiding?
It's possible, I don't know.
It's a trap.
Always thinking the worst, Parkhill.
Basic military strategy.
Or maybe they're not as basic as you.
I tell you, those Martians are trying to lure us into a trap.
We'll find out soon enough. 0800 will take a ground expedition to the nearest city.
I'd like to volunteer, Captain.
Very well.
I'll get the weapons ready.
We're trying to make peaceful contact.
Yeah. As I always say, best to make contact from behind a loaded gun.
This is what happens when you put a thug in uniform.
He's got a point. If we don't want to end up like the first mission...
He's a moron!
He's just tired and hungry, like all of us. Come on, looks like food's nearly ready. If we take the rover, we can head up this valley.
I think the closest city was here.
Hearts of oak are our ships, hearts of oak are our men. We always are ready. Steady, boys, steady.
Do we have to listen to this?
They're just dealing with everything.
I did my basic training with half those men buried up there.
Brave men.
Gave their lives to the mission.
The least they deserve is a song.
Yeah.
Hearts of oak are our ships, hearts of oak are our men. We always are ready. Steady, boys, steady. To charge and to conquer again and again.
For God's sake!
Tell you what, Spender. While Big sings, you and me can dance. How about it?
Why don't you shut your drunken mouth?
Oh, she doesn't think it's funny.
She doesn't think anything's funny.
Well, if we can't sing, let's name a few things. That's what pioneers do.
Good idea.
I name thee... Big's Rock.
Enough!
I name thee... Big's Canal.
Big's Canal?
Right. I name thee... Biggs and Parkhill Canal.
That's more like it.
No!
Oh, take it easy.
You delinquent moron!
Dad!
Okay, cut it out.
What's wrong with her?
Spender, with me.
Can't be the Biggs Canal without a Biggs in it.
Now! Suppose you explain what just happened.
I was ashamed.
They're just letting off steam.
Ashamed of Biggs and Parkhill and us and the noise.
You've been on the forces long enough to know how Marines do it.
Where's their respect? Where's their sense of the right thing?
You can't assault the ranks.
It's the idea of them watching us make fools of ourselves.
Them?
The Martians.
Spender, we don't even know they're still out there.
I know they're here. I can feel it. Just like I know that we're going to rip Mars up, rip her skin off and change it to fit ourselves. And morons like Parkhill and Biggs will be leading the charge.
We won't ruin Mars.
You think not?
I wouldn't have taken this command if I'd believed...
Humans have a talent for ruining big, beautiful things, Captain. They know we're here. Maybe they already hate us for it. Maybe that's why they killed the first crew.
We don't know that.
Sir, you can't let Parkhill go on the ground expedition.
We're not going without weapons.
You've got to confine him to camp.
Any more dissent, and I'm putting you on a charge, Spender. Got it?
Understood, Captain.
All set?
Weapons ready.
I'm taking the full medical kit, just in case.
Cameras are all loaded, sir.
And let's go see if we can find ourselves a Martian. Hold tight back there. It's going to get a bit bumpy.
You're looking a bit green, Parkhill.
Doing fine.
Definitely the worst for wear.
Nothing I can't handle.
Looks like a gateway into the city.
You want me to go ahead? Make sure it's clear?
No.
We'll just take a nice, calm look. It's incredible.
Look at the scale of the buildings.
How many centuries do you think those fountains have been running?
Hey, you Martians!
Parkhill.
Just trying to get some service.
Let's leave the rover. Go on foot. Is it some kind of theatre? What, a temple?
Look. The shadows of the pillars overlay the mosaics in perfect symmetry.
They really thought this through.
Oh, Parkhill.
Just checking the acoustic. Can you hear me in the cheap seats?
Did you hear that?
Take it easy, Parkhill.
You think they've seen us?
No, it doesn't sound like a warning.
We should follow it. I think it's coming from there.
Inside the dome.
Now that is what you call a door.
Do we go in?
That's why we're here. Dear God.
No.
Give me a torch, someone. Bodies. Thousands of Martian bodies. Like sticks wrapped in pieces of burnt newspaper. Hathaway did some tests. You know what killed them? Chickenpox. On Earth, it doesn't even kill children. But in the Martian metabolism, it burned them black. Dried them out to brittle flakes.
The virus came up with the first mission.
And they didn't even know it. There's nothing anyone could have done, Spender.
It's never our fault, is it? Humans always find someone else to blame.
Well, the blunt truth is, if chickenpox hadn't killed them, we'd probably be dead by now.
Do murderers build cities like this?
They killed the first mission. Didn't even give them a chance.
Yeah, way I see it, the Martians had it coming.
Back off, Parkhill.
You think they stank this bad when they were alive? God, Jesus. They really do stink.
Parkhill, get out!
God, that's better.
Thank you. You just made everything so much easier.
Spender, come back. Spender!
Let her cool down, Captain. She'll come back when she's ready.
Where are you? It's all right. I won't harm you. Please. Trust me. You can trust me.
Reckon these are done?
Flip them one more time. Don't want anyone getting the squits on Mars.
Well, they certainly smell good. Spender doesn't know what she's missing.
Oh, we won't be seeing her again.
Ah, she's got to come back sometime.
3 days out there on her own, no food, no weapons. She's probably face down in a canal by now. Well, don't look so sad. She was wound too tight for Mars. Should never have been allowed on the mission.
Wrong again.
Jesus!
I'm the only one who should have been allowed up here.
Captain's really pissed off at you, Spender.
I'm beyond human concerns now.
Hey, what? Now, steady on there, Spender. Reckon the sun's got to you.
I found one, alive, up in the city. He was sick, but he still had the strength to teach me.
It's great, Spender. Really.
He taught me how to read their books. interpret their art.
Yeah? Yeah, why don't you put the gun down, tell us all about it.
They were better than we'll ever be. They knew how to build a civilization without destroying the planet.
Well, you know, if they were so smart, how come they're all dead?
Because, Biggs, dumb people like you are allowed to live.
Wait, no.
How would you feel if a Martian came to Earth and vomited stale beer on the cenotaph?
Please. Spender.
Looking good.
I've left a bit of movement. Let's do all the comms checks, then you can tighten everything off.
What the hell's that?
It's base camp! Quick!
We were too late. She'd butchered them all, the whole crew.
You sure it was Spender?
Well, who else could it have been? The Martians were all dead.
So something had possessed her?
She wasn't a geologist anymore, that's for sure. And we were next in her sights. We tracked her into the city. She knew we were after her, so she vanished into the narrow alleys.
See anything? We're gonna have to flush her out. One street at a time. Damn her. Reposition. I've got a clean shot now.
Goodbye, Spender.
Wait! I can take her out! No, I want her alive. Spender! I want to talk! I'm coming up!
You sure about this, Captain?
Let me finish her now.
No, that's an order.
It's just me, Spender. It's just me.
That's far enough.
Spender, you can put the gun down. I'm unarmed. You, want to smoke?
Martians don't smoke.
How long do you think you can hold out?
Long enough to kill you all.
Why, Spender? Just tell me that.
When I was a kid, my parents took me to Egypt. I'll always remember how my father acted, all loud and big. My mother hated the people because they were dirty. And you know what? I can see my parents coming to Mars and acting the same way here.
Oh, come on, Spender. No one could see what's up here and not be moved.
Parkhill wasn't.
Colonizing Mars is the biggest step humans have ever taken. We have to believe it'll change us for the better.
I saw the classified mission briefing.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We're too far from Earth for bullshit. We both know if the colonization goes ahead, they're going to build a nuclear waste dump on Mars. And then the mining companies will arrive to strip the planet bare. Isn't it enough they've ruined our world without ruining this one as well?
No, I don't think a murderer is in any position to lecture on morals.
I'm free of your Earth culture. And I have to protect what's left of this civilization.
One woman can't protect a whole planet, Spender?
If I'm lucky, I'll live another 60 years. Every expedition that lands will be met by me. One by one, I'll kill them off. Every last one of them. After a while, perhaps Earth people will give up trying.
Spender, I'm begging you.
No.
But you can't win.
I have to try.
If you love all this so much, why cover it in blood?
I found a book in one of the villas. Its pages were tissue thin, pure silver, hand-painted in black and gold. It was a book of Martian philosophy, thousands of years old.
Can I see it?
Stay with me here, Captain. That's the only way to stop this. We can study Martian civilization together, learn from their genius, honor their memory.
I admire your principles.
But?
I'm afraid there's too much Earth blood in me.
Then I'll have to kill you all.
Spender, there's 3 of us.
And I have something to fight for. And that makes me a better killer.
Spender, I came as a friend. For pity's sake!
Spender, I'm sorry, but you gave me no choice.
On your head. On your head.
She died in my arms. We put her in a sarcophagus in one of the temples. Placed the silver book next to her. There's not a day goes by I don't think of her, lying in that tomb. The thing that really haunts me is that Spender was right. The colonization turned into a stampede of the greedy. I tried to speak up, to get the Martian cities protected. That's when they booted me off on the Pluto survey.
I thought that was your reward.
Yeah, politics, pure and simple. They wanted the ground left clear for the money men. An army of Park Hills unleashed on Mars.
Can I take my blindfold off now, Sam?
Not yet.
Ooh.
It's all right. I got you. Now, stand by. Ta-da! First man on Mars with a chili dog stand. Oh. You don't like it?
It's beautiful, Sam. Most beautiful hot dog stand I ever saw.
Chili dog, Evie. Chili dog.
But it's in the middle of nowhere.
This isn't nowhere. You see over there, behind that dead sissy, those are going to be chromium mines. Trucks from the settlement will be passing here 24 hours a day.
Oh. You sure?
As soon as that rocket fleet lands tomorrow, there'll be thousands of miners coming this way. Customers, hungry customers. And they're all ours. Come on. We got to get ready. Get those onions peeled and diced, relish in the dishes, cutlery sorted. I'm going to make you proud, Evie.
Oh, Sam.
Send me you're hungry and you're starved. Something. How does that poem go?
What do I want with poems?
Anyway, send them to me, because the chili dogs are cooking. What was that?
What was what?
Pass me the knife.
What is it, Sam?
Something's under the wagon.
Oh, what are you talking about?
Just stay here. Don't think you can mess with my chili dog stand. I got you now. Damn.
Sam? Are you all right? What was it?
Oh, just a rat or something.
There aren't any rats on Mars, Sam. Only living things are what humans brought. And we didn't bring rats.
It was some vermin. I don't know.
Maybe we should report it.
I'm trying to build a business here, Evie. Best chili dogs on 2 worlds. If word gets out there's vermin, it's the kiss of death.
All I'm saying is...
We've got to kill it.
Sam? Why don't we call it a day, eh? Go back to the settlement. Grab some beers. What are you doing with that? Sam? You know we're not allowed.
I think I'd come out here without a gun. Grab a broom. Let's flush it out.
I don't even know what we're looking for.
What about that hole?
I can't see anything.
Poke the broom in.
No!
Oh, give it here. Let's keep going. No. Not them.
What is it, Sam?
That sound!
I can't hear anything.
They're dead!
Sam, you're frightening me.
They're all dead! Dead? No! No! You're all dead.
I'm getting you to a doctor.
I can deal with this.
Where are you going?
To cook.
Those are our best sausages.
Never skimp on the bait.
Sam, stop this.
Pass the onions. No creature in the universe can resist the smell of fried onions. Move the table over there. They need to see it from a distance.
What about cutlery?
Evie, don't be ridiculous. They're Martians.
So now I'm talking crazy.
Just lock yourself in the trailer.
Where are you going?
Up there. Get a clean shot.
Wait! I'm coming too.
A few of them must have survived up in the hills. But they're not having my chili dog stand. They're not. No way.
What you say, Sam?
This is the frontier. The old's got to give way to the new. That's the law of give and take. Here. Get ready.
Sam.
Quiet.
Sam, it's the sirens.
Where did I go?
It's just the sirens.
No, it was them.
Is it the miners arriving? Can't see anything. Sam?
That's the general recall.
Recall?
Get in the rover. Come on.
Leave the vehicle here.
What's going on, Sergeant?
Settlement number?
I don't know.
Here, our identity cards.
Launch site 7.
We ain't launching anywhere.
Then you're gonna get left behind.
What?
War's broken out on Earth. We're evacuating.
No!
First thing those eastern bastards are gonna do is hit mission control. If we don't launch before they hit us, we're stranded here.
But I've got a business!
News just in. It's gonna be an off-season. Now grab what you can and get to the rockets. You, get out of the vehicle.
Sam.
Leave it here.
It was the perfect spot.
Come on, Sam. Come on. Let's grab our bags.
The best chili dogs in the solar system. The perfect spot.
Behind the line.
Come on. We're never going to find fossils on top of a mountain.
Talk to your father. It's his dig.
For a start, there's no water up here.
That's exactly what we're trying to prove, Marguerite. That once these mountains were the ocean floor.
And we really care?
Quiet. You hear that?
Just another drill.
Maybe something's wrong.
That's nothing.
And what's for lunch? I'm starving.
It's just another half hour till we stop.
Look, a rocket. And another there. Why are the rockets taking off?
Pass me the radio. Earth Settlement 101, this is Hathaway Archaeological Survey. Do you read? Earth Settlement, come in. Alice, pack everything up.
What's going on?
Quickly. The
whole evacuation was a shambles. Strange that no one was court-martialed over that fiasco.
Well, they didn't know how long they had.
Which is exactly when you stick to protocol.
You're in no position to judge. You were away from it all.
Yes, thank God. Pluto was so clean, so bleak, so unsullied by human meddling. The sun was just a tiny dot in the sky. You want to find peace? That's the place to go.
But you still came back.
Well, space debris takes its toll. There's only so many times you can patch a rocket up.
Right. But why come via Mars? Still haunted by Spender. Even after all those years.
If Mars had been ruined, I owed it to her. To face up to the truth, I had to see it with my own eyes.
Old Earth settlement at 015.
Captain, there it is. What's left of it?
Oh, it's nothing to get nostalgic about, Thompson.
All that effort to get here, all that money, just abandoned.
Oh, if they hadn't pulled out, we wouldn't be flying over a planet now. We'd be flying over one big open mine. Bridge, take us lower, into the valley running north.
Copy that.
I can think of better ways to waste $1 billion.
Just about cover our Pluto expenses.
What's in the mountains, anyway?
Keep watching.
It looks like... Oh, my God. It's a city. Carved into the hillside.
It hasn't changed one bit. Not in all this time.
Is that where Spender...
Yes.
I can see a plume of smoke. 198.
Smoke?
There. Probably just a dust storm.
Not that color. Bridge, take us right over it.
Copy that.
Captain, look! There's someone down there. By the canal. See?
It can't be.
I think he's trying to signal us.
700 feet.
I knew it. I knew you'd come back for us. I told my family, don't give up hope. One day they'll come back for us. One day. Captain Wilder?
Who is it? Who's there?
It's me. Hathaway. From your old crew.
Hathaway? Hathaway!
I knew you'd come back. I never give up hope.
It's all right. It's okay. What happened to you?
I got old. That's all.
Get the doctor.
No. No. I'll be all right. The waiting, the excitement. They've been waiting so long.
How many of you are here?
My wife and children. I say children. John's 19 now. Marguerite, 21.
What?
Come with me now, please.
Something wrong?
What? No. He's just confused. Slow down, Hathaway. There's no hurry.
The years haven't been kind to me. It's a harsh planet.
Don't worry, we're not going anywhere without you.
You've really got the place fixed up nicely.
I ransacked the old settlement. Amazing what they left behind. Dried food, electrical components, building supplies. And once I'd broken into the military containers, I could build anything.
Maybe it was lucky you did get left behind. From what we could make out, the war on Earth just dragged on and on.
Yes, they've got peace now, but not much else. No freedom, little food.
Paradise.
Trust me. When you've lived up here all alone for 13 years. Come inside. Alice? Come see who's here. You remember Captain Wilder? You do remember?
Of course. Captain Wilder. So nice to see you again.
We all had dinner together the night before I left on the survey mission.
Yes, I remember now.
You look great, Alice.
Thank you.
Mars must really agree with you.
Yes, we're very happy here. This is my daughter, Marguerite.
Pleased to meet you.
My son, John.
Sir.
This is Lieutenant Thompson.
Is that gingerbread I can smell?
Yes. We bake gingerbread on a Tuesday, hot pot on Wednesday, mushroom omelette on Thursday.
I grow the mushrooms in the shed.
Friday is baking day.
Life on Mars. Always busy.
You must be hungry. Have you come far?
Pluto.
That'd do it.
How lovely.
Look, I found a stash of wine in one of the warehouses. I kept it for a celebration.
Kids, wash your hands and help serve the tea.
Yes, Mother.
Yes, Mother.
What the hell's going on?
I don't know.
The isolation must have turned their minds.
It's not just their minds. These kids should be in their 30s, not teenagers. And Alice, she's my age, but look at her. She hasn't changed since I last saw her, not a wrinkle.
Is it something in the water? Or the air?
So why is Hathaway in such a bad state?
Sit down, Captain. Make yourselves at home.
I'm going to check something out.
I'm coming with you.
No, cover for me. Tell them I've gone to get supplies from the rocket. Wilder to bridge.
Everything okay, Captain?
Power up the geological scanners.
Easier to send you a map. They scanned Mars decades ago.
What I'm looking for isn't on any map. 3 small mounds next to each other.
That covers just about every boulder on the planet.
These will be regular, in a line.
Copy that. Give me a couple of minutes.
Please, have some more.
What about Alice and the kids?
Oh, they ate before. So, you were saying about Pluto?
Oh, it's got nothing for us. Nothing at all. The surface is one huge frozen nitrogen lake.
Oh, I guess we won't be colonizing that anytime soon.
Hathaway, I'd like to propose a toast.
Oh, we don't really do formalities.
But this is a special occasion. Not every day you get rescued. Please.
Kids, help me clear the table.
Yes, Mother.
Yes, Mother.
Looks like it's just you and me.
Yes.
So, what do we toast?
It would have to be my wife and children. Without them, I couldn't have survived. Up here, all on my own.
I'll drink to that.
Thompson, would you step outside for a moment?
Something wrong?
No, just technical stuff, if you'll excuse me. What did you find?
3 graves. The names on the crosses were Alice, Marguerite, and John. Died of an unknown virus 13 years ago.
Then who? Who are those people in there?
Not who. What? Come on, let's search the outhouses. Over here. A whole workshop.
This is incredible.
Last time I saw something like this, it was part of a military droid program. Mechanical joints, hydraulic muscles.
No, that's not possible.
When his real family died, Hathaway built another one to create the illusion of family.
That's insane.
Could you face being utterly alone, millions of miles from Earth?
Get out!
It's okay.
You can't be in here!
There's no harm done.
Get out! Now!
It's okay. Calm down now.
It's all right. Yeah, I've got you.
Some water, quick.
Yep.
Here, take a few sips. It's all right, other way. Everything's going to be okay.
Wilder,
I'm here.
say goodbye to Alice and the children for me.
I'll go and fetch them.
No. They wouldn't understand. I don't want them to understand.
Hathaway? Hathaway.
What are we going to do about the others? Do we turn them off?
I don't know.
Well, we can't take them back with us.
I suppose not.
Here, take my gun.
Alice, I'm afraid something's happened.
Is it about my husband?
It was his heart.
Oh,
He passed away. I'm so sorry.
thank you.
How do you feel?
He told us it would happen one day, and he didn't want us to cry. He didn't teach us how.
He did a fine job on you.
Thank you. He'd have liked to hear you say that. He was so proud of us.
We'll bury him next to the others.
Yes, I think he'd like that. Yes.
What about you?
What about us?
What happens now?
We've got plenty to do. Tuesday, we bake gingerbread. Hot pot on Wednesday. Mushroom omelette on Thursday. Friday is baking day.
We just left them there. Anything else would have felt like cold-blooded murder.
You're talking about robots.
They were built to last. 10, 50, 100 years. Why shouldn't they live out their time? They've as much right to life as any of us.
But you call that living? Abandoned up there?
A better life than you've got down here. Even from 500,000 miles away we could see the destruction. The Earth's atmosphere, black with smoke, like the whole planet's charred.
It was a bit melodramatic for a man who's just spent 20 years staring at Pluto.
It made Pluto look welcoming, believe me.
If you hadn't disobeyed orders, your welcome here would have been a lot warmer.
It was worth it.
8 years in jail. For people you never even met.
You don't know what it meant to see that rocket burning bright against the sky, escaping from Earth's madness.
There, Captain. You can just see the trail.
Where the hell are they going?
Pluto survey. This is mission control. Do you read?
Mission Control, this is Pluto Survey.
We have reports of an unauthorized rocket launch coming through your sector.
How should I respond?
Your orders are to intercept.
Ignore them.
They're going to want an answer.
Pass me the binoculars. It's not military. It looks pretty beaten up.
Pluto survey. Your orders are to shoot the rocket down. Do you copy?
Mission Control. This is Captain Wilder. We can't see any rocket. Over.
We're tracking it. It's in your sector, Wilder.
We'll keep our eyes peeled.
We're right on top of them.
Turn it off.
Captain, it's against standing orders to...
I take full responsibility. Now, open ship-to-ship frequencies. This is Captain Wilder of the Pluto survey rocket. Identify yourself. You need to identify yourself. We've been ordered to intercept.
This is the rocket ship Mayflower. We're unarmed. It's just me and 25 kids.
What?
Say again, Mayflower.
We're a civilian rocket. One adult and a class of school children.
I think you're a bit off course. There are no schools out here.
Not many schools down there either now, Captain. We're a refugee ship.
This is insane.
Who's in command, Mayflower?
Just me. Susan Edwards.
Miss Edwards, we're not sure we believe your story.
Take a listen for yourselves.
You couldn't make this up.
What's your destination, Miss Edwards?
We're hoping we'll be safe on Mars.
You're not just going to let them go.
I'm not going to shoot down a class of kids.
They could be faking the whole thing.
They could be, but I don't think so. You'll certainly find some peace and quiet up there.
Thank you, Captain. It's the only chance they've got. They're still young enough to forget the horrors.
Good luck, Miss Edwards. Good luck. Over and out.
Big mistake, Captain.
Not the first I've made.
So how long do you think they'll last?
Who knows? Growing up in the shadow of all that Martian culture, maybe it'll make them better than any of us can imagine.
Has everyone got their water bottles?
Yes, miss.
We're going on an expedition.
Yay!
There's a lake up in the mountains. We're going to get some water, and if we're really lucky, we'll see some Martians.
But all the Martians are dead, miss.
Actually, Robert, they're not. I'm going to show you some real, live Martians. Now form a crocodile and follow me.
The animal turns into by two, hurrah, hurrah. The animal turns into by two, hurrah, hurrah. The animal turns into by two, the elephant and the kangaroo. They always think we are walking. Hurrah. The animals went to five.
Okay. If we're very quiet, we'll see them. Everyone, get to the edge of the lake. Look into the water. Now, what do you see?
My reflection?
No, not anymore. What you can see is Martians. We are the Martians now.
Well, if it's our planet, can we go and explore?
In Ray Bradbury's The Martian Chronicles, dramatised by Richard Curti and Bev Doyle, Captain Wilder was Derek Jacobi, Spender, Haley Atwell, the lawyer, Anna Madeley, Hathaway, Mark Lewis Jones, and Parkhill, John Altman. Evie was Zoe Tapper, Thompson, Dean Harris, Young Wilder, Ryan Sewell, Pluto Survey Officer, Rachel Naylor, Soldier, Jacob James, Prison Officer, Robert Locke, Miss Edwards, Melissa Aston Munslow, Robert, Owen Sewell, and the Mayflower Rocket Kids by children from Polehampton Junior School. Other parts were played by members of the cast. Original music was composed by Imran Ahmad. Sound design and post-production was by Alastair Locke. The Martian Chronicles by Ray Bradbury was directed by Andrew Mark Sewell and was a B7 production.